What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Inside the Crazy Ant Farm. Yes, we are back, people. Holy moly, we are back. Just want to give a huge shout out to those hashtag Save Scorpion people. You guys have been blowing up our social media everywhere. So just wanted to give you guys a personal shout out. A whole bunch of industry news on the agenda for today. We got two special guests, both from the hottest podcast in the country, America 2.0, the one and only J.S. Mayank and Spencer Garrett. Man, it's going to be a good show.
Oh, what? It's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
I can't wait to talk to those guys about that.
Hell
podcast.
yeah. Podcast love, man.
Podcast love, man. Hottest podcast in the country.
Hashtag podcast love.
Hashtag podcast love.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But let's start off with some industry news. The box office. Yeah. The box office was huge last week with the second highest grossing movie in October, Halloween. Michael Myers is back.
That's right.
Yeah.
It surpassed the entire franchise.
Yeah. It set a franchise record, which is pretty awesome.
That's
I think,
also Jamie Lee Curtis is back, too.
Yeah,
So
she
let's make
is
sure
back.
to mention that.
Yeah.
Again.
Yeah.
That's right.
Back again. She is back. Okay. But yeah, I think the franchise record was held by the Rob Zombie version before this one. So
Yeah.
So it's pretty awesome. It's pretty awesome to see. I think it's going to be number one again, but we'll talk about that later on in the show for the box office.
Yeah, I would agree. I
predictions.
mean, we've got Halloween coming up.
Yeah,
How is
exactly.
it not going to be number one during Halloween weekend?
I'm
I
surprised
mean,
they
I think.
didn't wait to release it.
Yeah, we
That's
talked
what
about
I thought
that
it was
too.
a little early, but
Maybe to build up the hype a little bit more and
Yeah.
get some more oomph out
Yeah.
of it.
Right.
yeah. But we shall see.
And second biggest October opening, you said, right?
Mhm.
Because Venom still holds
The
that
first
crown.
one, yeah, with like 80 million.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
so close. 77.5.
Yeah,
is what
they were
Halloween got.
talking. They were thinking maybe Venom
Yeah.
was in trouble for but
Yeah, which outdid my expectations. To be honest, I predicted around 60 to 65. So bravo to y'all.
I mean, yeah, and I
Bravo.
think it might be one of those rare films that like actually we see an increase from the opening weekend to
Yeah.
the second weekend instead of a decrease because, like I said, you got Halloween coming up.
Yeah.
I'm betting it's going to do really well over Halloween.
Hell yeah, hell
be
yeah.
wrong,
Bloomhouse Productions. Yep, just letting y'all know.
Did you find any female directors yet, Jason?
Oh man, let's not get onto that one. Let's not get onto that one. He has apologized.
He has apologized.
Yeah, he
did.
retracted that.
Yeah, he has apologized. But some other wonky stuff that's going on. Disney exploring the possibility of a Pirates Caribbean reboot, and with the Deadpool writers. Like, is this going to be a darker version? What
is I don't understand why there are reboots now while things already are kind of standing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
my thing. Like, they just kind of wrapped it up. What, 5 years ago, something like that?
Yeah, it wasn't even that long ago.
Exactly. So I feel like there should be a longer time
And-
frame for these things.
And who can play a better Captain Jack Sparrow than Johnny Depp?
Exactly.
I'm sorry, he is that character.
Yeah,
Exactly.
He made that character.
exactly. And the last one didn't do that well.
Yeah.
So you need some space, man. If the last one didn't do so well, people are telling you we're kind of burnt out on
Exactly.
Yeah,
this. So give it some space, man.
Exactly.
Like I
Is
just
Orlando Bloom doing anything these days?
I actually just saw
Kate
him
Berry.
in the news. Oh, man.
Whoa!
Oh.
Hey, whoa! Sorry.
Jeez, y'all just blew out the channel.
Oh my
All
god.
right, anyway.
But yeah, this is still just in works. They're talking about it, but I'm not interested in it.
No,
personally.
especially since you know you're going to take, and I'm not saying that the Deadpool writers aren't capable of doing something
that's
other
what
than
I'm trying to figure
Deadpool.
out.
But what is it going to be? Like an R-rated, in your
Right.
face kind of a
Okay,
reboot?
so they got their hands on the Fox catalog, and they got Deadpool was in the Fox catalog. And it was like, okay, we're gonna take these writers and make a Disney film out with them.
Right? Like, what the hell?
yeah, I just
Well, it's like they're being they're gonna train them.
Yeah. I don't know, man.
They're
Especially
going to
since
Disney U.
Yeah.
yeah. Just I'm with Logan though. Like, just don't do it.
don't do it.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Keep it in a park.
Exactly.
It's been done.
Exactly. Some other things that came out this week: Wonder Woman getting pushed back 7 months.
7 months.
It was
wonder
gonna
if this-
come out in 2019, but now 2020.
Yeah.
I wonder if this is if they're kind of reshuffling everything, how they're gonna arrange their universe, and that's just gonna
Well, I think what it was initially scheduled to come out in the fall, and I think they realized that Wonder Woman is a tentpole for the summer.
Yeah.
So they shoved it back to a summer release.
Well, that, and like I said, it could be something about that because they don't. All the things they had planned
Yeah.
are no longer there, and
Yeah.
they need that to.
I did
kinda-
see that the new Charlie's Angels took Wonder Woman's spot for that fall
Which is
release.
interesting
Yeah.
because next week we'll be talking to the writer
Yeah.
of the other one that's going head to head with the new Charlie's Angels, Terminator 6,
Yeah.
is going to be opening against Charlie's Angels. So
Yeah.
that would be real. It's going to be interesting to
Yeah.
see. I see why Wonder Woman's just like, well, I'm just going to handle summer.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
I don't need to compete with all these other, you know. So
Exactly.
He's also got another picture coming out that comes out next week, so it'll be a good time.
yeah.
Oh, really?
So
Did not know that.
So think about that though for a second. It could be strategic by Warner Brothers because Terminator. Linda Hamilton is back.
Yeah.
Linda Hamilton's like badass, kick-ass,
Exactly.
tough-ass woman who's going to be like handling business.
Yeah.
You don't want Linda Hamilton to go against Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, so it was a smart move. Like, you know,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. So we shall see. We shall see where that goes. I have faith in Wonder Woman. I don't have faith in DC. Just saying.
No, yeah, Wonder Woman is fine.
Yeah.
Just like they're good to go.
Yeah.
It's going to do great.
Yeah.
But-
Agreed. Brooklyn Nine-Nine coming back. You heard how it got canceled by NBC and then got picked up by Fox. Well, I guess it's back at NBC. So it's coming back January 2019. What the hell?
What?
Yeah.
I feel like maybe that's another Disney decision.
Yeah.
Like maybe Disney didn't want it.
Yeah. But then I guess brought it back because of, or no.
Maybe because the
NBC.
fan cry out, they went, we got this many fans waiting. Maybe we'll take it back. Maybe
Yeah.
we won't give it. Maybe it wasn't.
I don't know. I like Terry Crews, so go guys. Just proud of you.
Go
Yeah.
guys.
I feel like if it keeps getting canceled, maybe there's a reason.
Maybe there's a reason.
I mean, I like everybody involved in the show.
Yeah.
You know, and it's creatively well done and
Yeah.
it's funny. But if you keep getting canceled,
Exactly.
maybe people don't want to watch it. I'm just
Exactly.
saying. Like, stop
And
picking it back up.
I honestly do not understand why people just keep canceling shows like this, but cancel shows that have a great following, like Scorpion. They
Yeah.
have a great following and have yet to be picked back up
And
anywhere
we're
else.
still solid in the ratings.
Exactly.
They were still high in the ratings, and they can't.
Exactly.
Yeah, like what's up with that?
Yeah. Well, that was great. You just said that because that segues into our next topic: TV ratings.
Yeah.
The Connors dropped. Now we want to say that what was it?
The
Baseball
World Series.
Yeah,
It did air against the World
It
Game
did.
1 of the World Series.
it did, but
It would have dropped anyway.
it would have. Yeah, it would have dropped anyway. That's at least my opinion, his opinion about it. I don't know. And then also, The Walking Dead continues to
Oh,
drop
God.
week after week.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. I think my theory on The Walking Dead, Roseanne or the Connors. I'm sorry, the
yeah,
Connors.
The Connors.
I just think that's going to just continue its downward trend. People are done with it.
Yeah.
I don't. My theory on The Walking Dead is that when they killed Carl and all of the hardcore Carl, all of the hardcore loyal fans realized that the main storyline that everybody was waiting for, the Carl, Negan, Rick storyline, wasn't going to happen.
yeah.
That was it. They lost interest, and now they find out Rick is leaving. I think that they're just not invested anymore.
Yeah.
They're like, well, there's no Rick, there's no Carl. What's Negan gonna do?
Yeah.
So fuck it.
you know,
And
I
I
have
feel like they're done.
I mean, I don't know. This is just my prediction. I think Negan's going to take the lead.
You think so?
Well, Daryl is supposed to be number
know,
one on
but
the
that's
call sheet.
Right. But
Well,
I mean,
you even said last week, the show that just came out or something, right? Negan said, "You're just getting all this ready for me."
Yeah,
to
yeah.
Rick.
Yeah.
I mean, so
But
yeah,
even
you never
that's
know.
not accurate,
Yeah.
though. Like the storyline is they actually work
you could
together
throw
and
storyline
become
out of the window.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
not
They
going with
obviously
that.
don't care about
right,
the storyline,
right,
though.
which is why it's going to end
Yeah.
because the fans were They could handle this being a little different,
Yeah.
this kind of being a little different. Let's
Yeah.
add a character that's not in the comic books.
Right.
Okay, we're okay with. They're not okay with killing Carl and Rick.
Yeah.
From what I understand,
could
Rick's
be a
not going to
tale.
die.
It could be a
but-
tale of two tribes or whatever. And it's like, I mean, and Negan will take on, I guess. They Reedus and Jeffrey Dean Morgan could both take on the role of Rick
Yeah,
of their respective groups.
yeah. I mean, you never know, man. But yeah,
But how does this go
not
against
too.
the cable numbers. Maybe a lot of people are this is including streaming numbers too.
I believe it's only including the actual numbers on TV.
Yeah,
like the
AMC.
actual.
Because I get the
Yeah.
Connors dropping because that's out there on the Nielsen boxes and
Right.
everything else. But this is The Walking Dead. A lot of people are cutting the cord too, and a lot of people are just waiting to view it on Netflix or
Yeah,
any other
just
place.
wait
No,
like
yeah,
a year after the
that's
season.
absolutely true. That's absolutely. But I
mean,
don't know.
I think this is going to be a lot more ratings after.
Yeah. Possibly. I mean, I feel like Breaking Bad did huge on streaming after
Absolutely.
the show was off.
Yeah.
After
So,
the show was off.
Yeah, but for the actual TV side, maybe I give it 2 more seasons.
Yeah, I don't.
I don't even
think
give
it's
that.
gonna-
I
Really?
think it's going to be done after this season, which
Really?
is interesting because remember they've got a new showrunner, and the old showrunner Scott Gimple has been promoted up, and he's in charge of the Walking Dead universe, if you will.
Yeah.
And there's supposed to be all kinds of spin-offs coming. You know, not just Fear the Walking Dead, but The
Yeah.
Walking Dead, Fear the Walking Dead, and a bunch of other new spin-offs, a potential feature film. And I'm like, they're not even staying to watch the
That's- yeah.
flagship show. So if they're not staying to watch that, how are you going to launch
Yeah.
this huge
if
universe?
your
I
number
just-
one
It took a
breadwinner
lot.
is not winning or bringing bread to the table, then yeah, these other people are not.
They're going to reboot it.
You think
That's
so?
it. They're gonna
They're gonna
reboot it.
reboot
Eventually,
it.
let's give it
Yeah.
a year. They'll reboot it.
No,
That's
they're
true.
planning a reboot right now. Apparently,
they probably
I mean, they
are.
pretty much did that with Fear the Walking Dead.
They did. I mean, the whole thing was supposed to be a prequel.
Yeah.
And then, like, this had to be started this season. Like, Morgan's there, and they're like,
Yeah.
you didn't even have to watch the first 3 seasons.
We all caught
Here
up.
we are. And
Yeah.
It's like, what?
Right.
Yeah,
that was
just
really hard
crazy.
for me to get through, and I actually started to kind of enjoy it.
Yeah, I
The
only
last
watched
season.
the first season of that one, so
Yeah,
I
it
wasn't
was-
a huge fan. But
Yeah.
never know. Some more craziness, some more crazy stuff that's happening. Luke Cage canceled after 2 seasons. I mean, bigger plan with Heroes for Hire,
Right.
or going
Right.
back on, or is it going to Disney streaming?
Right, and
service?
I-
That was my prediction
on
right
top
there.
Of,
Yeah.
On top of the Iron Fist cancellation. Yep, Luke Cage. And, yeah, it seems to be swirling back and forth. There's rumors that they were both canceled for a Heroes for Hire, to make room for a Heroes for Hire.
On the Disney service.
I also heard rumors that they want to go with a female-led series, and so
I think they're
going to
gonna do both.
Daughters of the Dragon.
I think they're
shit.
going to do both.
and
on the
and
be
you're
epic.
going to see Luke Cage and Danny show up on their show. It's
Yeah.
going to be Misty and Colleen,
Yeah.
and they're going to continue their roles on their show
Yeah.
as in the supporting role.
I'm thinking it's going to be a Heroes for Hire series and a Daughters of the Dragon series.
Well, we'll find out immediately because we know we've got Punisher coming. They've already filmed it, so it's definitely coming for its next
Yeah.
season. But if we hear that Daredevil is canceled, because Daredevil just was huge in the
Huge,
ratings,
yeah.
If we hear that Daredevil's canceled, we know for sure it's a shift for Disney taking it back.
How do you put a show like
Netflix is
Daredevil
gonna
on
give
a
it
Disney
back.
service?
Honestly, yeah. Watching because I caught up this past week so I could get ready for season 3. But yeah,
fucking
just the
brutal.
first freaking season, man. Like,
Yeah.
Oh, I'm getting chewed out for
Kingpin
not
and, like,
catching up because I
Oh,
just
you
thought
haven't watched it from the first season?
I did. And I started watching it like literally last week, and
You haven't
now I'm
watched them,
on
Chris?
season 3.
I was like 3 or 4 episodes in, and then I didn't have
man.
Netflix for
Oh,
that.
okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I mean, first season.
It's all
Fist
of it's
takes
brutal.
a guy's head off with a car door.
Yeah,
I mean, come
That
on.
was
Shit.
amazing.
Well-
I saw that. I did see that.
Yeah.
but,
That scene was. I was like,
Okay,
oh, wow.
but I guess it's going to go back to, because we talked about this a couple of weeks ago. While Netflix, and let's make it clear, if this is what's happening and Disney's going to get them back, it's not Disney taking them back, because
Right.
they were under contract with Netflix for a couple more years. So it's Netflix giving them back. And if that is the case, though, we talked about this a couple shows ago. I don't. Everybody's like with what you just said. The general, how's this going to be on Disney? How's it going to? It's not. It's going to be on Hulu.
yeah.
It's going to be. They're not going to keep it on the Disney Go
what
streaming.
they
said.
It's
They're
going to
not
be
gonna
on
keep all
Hulu,
that-
which is where they've already said they were going to keep the rated R content from 20th Century Fox.
Yeah.
So it only makes sense to me that they would keep this television Marvel universe on Hulu.
That's fine. I still have Hulu. It's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like-
So, yeah. So I'm real curious to see what it is. Though.
Yeah.
Is it? I mean,
Like,
I don't know.
Just let us know. But yeah, freaking Danny posted, the character who plays Danny posted the end, or this is not the end, or something like that. And
Yeah.
then Luke Cage posted something that was like similar to that.
Right,
so-
always moving forward.
Yeah.
They're definitely hinting that they know their characters aren't done.
Yeah.
So
I think the fact that they had 2 seasons of each show is just basically all set up for a
Another
Heroes for Hire.
thing, yeah.
yeah,
Heroes for Hire
I mean, the fans want a Heroes for Hire. So
Exactly.
whether it's on Disney or
First of all,
whether it's
I
on,
think the idea that Iron Fist was made at all
Was for the Heroes for Hire.
was to set up for Heroes for Hire because Luke Cage had a lot more legs as a character
Yeah.
by itself to carry his own show.
Yeah.
More than Iron Fist.
But you know who I really want to see? Blind Spot.
Blind Spot.
James Chin
Yeah.
as Blind
Yeah.
Spot.
Well, I mean,
Just
that's.
saying.
I mean, the opening now is for Daredevil.
Yeah.
he can show up on Daredevil.
Exactly.
And I think
If you haven't listened, you can go back and listen to our show with James Chin, our interview. He was on Iron Fist season 2.
We have no shame here at Plugs.
No.
We will,
of course not.
we have
Shameless
no
plug.
shame.
Shameless
so
plug.
many ridiculously awesome
if you-
interviews you got to go
Exactly.
back and listen to.
You can listen to
And
those
you'll
on.
hear us talking with our pinkies out.
Exactly.
And,
Well,
You can
speaking-
listen to them.
Yeah.
Oh, from Hall, yeah. Sorry.
Speaking
ooh.
of though, or
Something
did they
Harvard.
cancel them and are giving them back to Disney because they're running out of money?
They are.
They did just announce that they were further going after another $2 billion. And they've already $8 billion for this year. And there's something like, I want to say closing in quickly on $100 billion in debt.
Damn. I thought it was only in the millions. I didn't know.
Yeah,
it was in
no.
the billions.
So yeah, they spent $8 billion alone on content.
money to make
And that's exactly what they're saying. And they're anticipating another $2 billion increase for next year. So you can expect another raising of $2 billion coming. So that's crazy.
I have
Like-
faith in Netflix.
What's that?
I have faith in Netflix.
I do too. I think they know what they're doing, clearly.
I mean, I love Netflix, and I want to have a lot more faith, but it's kind of looking like Disney's looking at putting a shotgun to their mouth and going, "Go ahead,
But I mean,
make my day."
Name.
Wow, that's pretty graphic.
Yeah, I'm
thought.
sorry,
Like,
but Disney's doing that though.
That'll
It's
be
like
on. That'll be on
Hulu is
yeah, that'd be on Hulu.
Hulu's taking all the
I
content,
can just
bringing
see.
it
I
over
can
there.
see this mental image in my head of Mickey with a shotgun.
Eat it, bitch. I mean, I don't know,
God.
but
Eat lead, motherfucker!
Like,
So anyway,
I feel like name a company that's not swimming in debt. Disney's swimming in debt.
Yeah.
You don't hear about it a lot, but they're swimming in debt.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, they just
accu-
acquired all the debt and everything from Fox,
right. I mean,
and all of that was in Lucasfilm.
I
and-
think every company that is successful has debt. They're carrying
Yeah.
debt because you have to spend money to make money. And I
Well,
mean,
debt is healthy for companies like that.
right.
Yeah,
You just
and
gotta
when
figure
you
it
have
out.
when you have Marvel that's making billions and billions of dollars.
Lucasfilms.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
exactly.
right now Lucas isn't doing so well. The Star Wars movies are getting backed up.
No, but the merchandise is still.
Oh, yeah,
carrying
the merchandise is still very strong.
well,
and
okay,
Disney has
and
that.
let's remember though, everybody freaked out last quarter when Netflix missed its expectations
Yeah.
and subscribers, and they were all like, "Oh my God, they're spending $8 billion and and then they didn't even have new subscribers and they're missing their expectations."
Yeah.
And everybody freaked out. Everybody put the stock on sell and blah. And then this time they come and kill the expectations, have more subscribers than what they were supposed to get, and now everybody's like, "Oh, they clearly know what they're doing."
Yeah.
Everybody, remember, even Reed
part of the
Hastings
game
said,
plan.
"Guys, we beat what we thought we were going to get.
Exactly.
Just because we didn't hit we know what we're expecting to
Exactly.
get." I mean, they know what they're doing.
Exactly.
So I feel
Another
like
way
I don't know.
they're-
They just have that big gun to Netflix, and they're taking so much of Netflix's content's going to be gone, and that's what a lot of people want Netflix for is that catch up.
Yeah.
I mean, their
Well-
originals are still really awesome, but
Yeah.
that's going to run short.
And everybody's pulling their content. I mean, Warner Media just announced
Yeah.
a week ago or so that they're going to yank Friends.
Well, I mean,
and
Can we
everybody,
not talk about
Friends alone.
Oh, okay.
The
Yeah.
revenue that Netflix generates from Friends alone is
know.
going to be like, oh shit.
But are they really? Are they just giving the finger to Disney by having Guillermo del Toro do a stop motion Pinocchio.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, well,
I think it's gonna be awesome.
I
wanna
think it's
see it.
definitely a slap at Disney, but I mean,
Isn't
everybody
there something like
forgets.
about the production that's doing it, or the production house that's doing it too? Like,
Yeah, the production house that's doing it is former Disney. Also,
Yep,
they worked on
boom.
former Disney stuff. But my thing is, though, is a lot of people, while that is kind of a hey slap, I guess kind of a thing. I mean, Pinocchio existed long before
well,
Disney's
I know,
Pinocchio.
but it was more
and,
popularized by Disney.
Right, but I just think that this is going to be set in the 1930s, and it's going to be set in I think I read France or something like
Yeah.
that. So, I mean, it's going to be a completely different take from Disney's Pinocchio.
Well, as you said,
Take
Disney
Pinocchio
still
and
has
Crimson
Hulu
Peak
anyway,
and put them
Right.
together, and this is what we're gonna get.
Yeah,
but I still think that's pretty huge because I mean, it's like if you think about it, it's like one of those movies you think about growing up, like a Lion King,
Oh,
or
yeah.
like a Tarzan.
Yeah.
So Netflix doing its own Pinocchio, that's pretty huge. I feel like.
It's pretty huge.
Yeah.
And I
Huge.
mean, we have talked about it
huge.
like since we basically launched this show a year ago.
Yeah.
We called it a year ago. The battle for Hollywood is going to come down to Netflix and Disney.
Yeah.
I mean, they're every week they are continuously trading blows in the middle of
They
the
are.
ring. When one does something, the other one says, "Oh yeah, well here I'm going to do this," and the following week it's, "Well, I'm going to
Yeah.
do this." And so I think it's going to continue to go like that.
Yeah.
Everybody else is basically just around the ring trying to get scraps.
Yeah.
And
Well,
and
I mean,
we'll see.
For anyone who follows the trades, they see once Disney does something. I mean, Netflix does something. And once Netflix does something, Disney's going to do something. Like
Right.
it's always back and forth.
Right.
So
And I think the silent one that everybody needs to keep an eye on. I keep saying this, and I'm going to keep saying
the
is
monster
Apple.
in the dark.
Apple.
Yeah.
They're just quietly just loading up every
Yeah.
week. They're making another announcement
Yeah.
of something, and nobody's kind of just like it's
I mean,
very
they only
quiet.
have
it's
like
very
$1
subtle.
billion, $1 trillion
Yeah,
to work
That's
with.
what I'm
Exactly.
saying. What
And
they
sustaining that.
they
like-
don't. Yeah, I mean, just wait. They don't have to market shit to raise money.
Exactly.
Because they have all the money. So just wait until all of their shit is ready and they start
Exactly.
funneling that money into marketing. That's when Disney and Netflix are going to
Well,
have
just
to go,
saw
wait a
that.
minute.
Apple's just sitting over there going, go ahead.
Yeah,
go
go ahead. It's fine.
But
Well,
really, is
ahead.
Apple going to go against Disney as that much, or going to make more deals? With
No,
Disney?
I
don't
think
know.
Disney's going to start coming out with their own
that's-
phones.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. I think
mouse
Disney will benefit from Apple because they are friendly.
Yeah.
And Iger sits on Apple's board.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to be a relationship
Yeah.
to where that they're going to share each other's content,
Yeah.
I think. And that could potentially be a really big problem for Netflix.
Yeah.
And the only other one with enough money to compete is Amazon.
Yeah.
But the head of Amazon Studios, she just announced that she came forward and said they are rethinking their film strategy while focusing hardcore on international television.
Yeah.
So their focus is clearly TV right now,
Right.
which, again, this will be a great subject to talk about next week with our guest because Billy Ray from The Last Tycoon, because that was a brilliant show, but it got canceled from Amazon, even though it had huge ratings and was because of cost.
Yeah.
Now wait a minute, we're going to focus everything on TV.
Yeah.
Oh, oops. But so they're the only other ones with a shit ton of money that could actually compete, and they're not worried about film.
Exactly.
So we'll see.
Yeah,
I
but I'm
mean,
pretty excited about Apple, though. I mean, we just saw today Steve Carell got signed to that deal with
Yeah.
Reese Witherspoon and Jennifer Aniston.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
really excited about whatever the show that's going to be.
I
Yeah,
just hate
it's-
reading articles that say this is the end of the we're getting to the end of the golden age of streaming.
Yeah.
Because with Apple or such, you might be paying per streaming product like rental more than you're going to be paying one monthly subscription fee.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know though. I mean, they're pretty successful with Apple Music. So I mean, I feel like that's a monthly subscription. So
Yeah.
I feel like
It's true.
they'll give an offer. I don't think we're going to see the end of. I think you'll still see you can buy this movie or this TV show individual episodes and or the whole season. But I also think they're going to do a subscription where you can just monthly watch whatever you want. I don't know. I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where I don't know. I would hope they would do more subscription based, and that'd
Yeah.
be great. But will they?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the thing with the year
Well,
package.
I mean, there's still Hulu's still up there, and they
Exactly.
just added stars. To
Yeah,
their,
exactly.
to
It's
the-
just another freaking Disney
Oh, now
trying
you
to
can
be on
upgrade
top
and
of
finally
it.
see American Gods.
Yeah, there you
Oh
go.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Go pick up Neil Gaiman's new.
So I mean,
can
I
watch
think
this-
that I think it was available for the Hulu Live or whatever, but now I think they made it available for like everyone who just has like the basic package for
Right.
Hulu. So
That's gonna be awesome.
yeah,
'Cause
that's
I could,
freaking
I can watch Stars for a whole lifetime.
a whole lifetime.
Yeah.
Just go put Ash vs. Evil Dead on over and over
Sure,
again.
sure.
Speaking of Lifetime, they're creating
Speaking of peeing on people,
Oh my gosh! They're creating a docu-series about called "Surviving R. Kelly."
that's not negative or anything.
No,
No,
not at
not
all.
at all.
A 6-hour docu-series will be 3 installments of all of his accusers coming forward and saying what they need to say. So, I'm pretty interested about this one.
yeah.
Like, see what the interviews and what
I
the
think a
people
lot
have
of
to
those
say.
survivors will say their time with R. Kelly felt like a lifetime.
I
Like,
bet it did.
One person's going to step forward and say, "It really burns when it gets in your eyes."
Oh my gosh! Wow.
Hey, come on! Who's not making pee
A
jokes
pee
about R.
joke.
Kelly?
Exactly.
You know.
Exactly. Freaking, what's that
I
one?
think it's just like there's so many P jokes.
There
it's just
is.
like
Well, what's that one song that
I think-
Macklemore freaking did?
Yeah.
Smell like R. Kelly sheets.
Right.
Piss.
Yeah.
Yeah, shit's funny. But yeah, I'm interested to see what they have to say
Well, and-
because, like, I feel like some media is giving it some light, but a lot of media is kind of shining away from that situation. So I'm really interested to see if that whole situation will blow up even more after this.
Well, because I mean, I think some people are kind of like, iffy about it or giving
If they
want to
believe it or not.
Because
yeah.
Lifetime's also famous for their Lifetime movies where
Yeah.
they do real life stories
Yeah.
based on Saved by the Bell or what, and they're like cheesy, like
Yeah.
the true story behind.
I mean, I haven't
But-
looked at Lifetime in forever, but I mean, it used to just be about battered wives and
Right, but I
Rapes
mean,
and-
let's be honest. The untold true story things that they do have been just like god awful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, but this is not that. It's an actual like documentary
Right.
series. So I feel like they're not going to cast some guy as R. Kelly and do some
Yeah.
shit. I think this is
Exactly.
going to be give it a chance. I'm
Yeah.
definitely interested. To
But
see
yeah,
it.
Little Cam had no faith in it either because she was talking shit about Lifetime earlier today.
Oh,
You're
you
talking
do.
shit about Lifetime?
You
Why are you
always-
talking shit
you
about
always
Lifetime?
Talk shit
Oh.
about Lifetime, man.
God.
it's because
Okay,
they
then
took
I'm not
Gilmore
on
Girls
here.
off. No, it's because they took Gilmore Girls off the roster.
That's true.
I didn't even know Gilmore Girls was on
It
Lifetime.
was,
So
yeah.
And then they
Oh,
took
my
it
mom
off.
Used to be the
still
afternoon
just to
block.
watch it
Yeah.
while they just
Yeah.
leave. It was the same freaking movie on every week.
Yeah, basically.
How like TNT or USA was always Law and Order.
Law and Order.
They were
yeah.
Gilmore
Dun,
Girls.
dun, dun,
Yeah.
dun,
See, I didn't even know that.
dun,
Yeah.
now I like them even
dun.
less. It's fine.
Because they took it off.
Oh my
Okay.
goodness. Well, CBS, Richard Parsons steps down as the chairman. He was the interim chairman for a while there, but he steps down because of health reasons. But I mean, I bet it's also due to a lot of stress that
Yeah.
CBS has going on in
Yeah,
that building
and-
right now.
and-
That'll cause health problems.
yeah, exactly.
Although-
I'm
having
real curious how
stress?
this is going to play out, though, because I think one of the main reasons that everybody kind of agreed to the sign off with Les Moonves and their reorchestrating of the New Deal, if
Yeah.
you will, about how we're going to back off of the merger for a little bit and we're going to do this and that, is all because Richard Parsons was going to step up into the role and eventually, when the merger
Yeah.
happened, be the guy.
Yeah.
And now he's not. And so I'm wondering if a lot of the shareholders who signed off on the deal because of Richard Parsons are now going to be like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
So because now it's going to be Redstone's call.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
I
Who's
mean,
gonna
and
be
so
up
now.
top.
And he was sort of like an outside guy. I mean, former Time Warner guy.
Yeah.
And but so kind of like not CBS, not Viacom, but skilled enough to do whatever it was that it was going to need to do through the now I feel like she's just going to pick a Viacom person, throw it in the role and merge that guy, and it's
Yeah.
going to be shareholders are going to be like, oops.
That's what it seems like,
So-
man.
So the shareholders are saying this is the end of the Parsons project.
Let's hope not. Let's see it gets through the health problems.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
I groaned on that one a little bit.
Even
was-
Ace.
Yeah, I don't think the kids over here got it though.
Even Ace,
all
no,
kidding
I did
aside,
not.
though, all kidding aside, Richard
The
Parsons,
Alan Parsons
was
Project.
he's a brilliant guy
Eye
and
in
a
the sky.
great CEO, and it's a loss.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
you need somebody skilled, especially during a merger.
Yeah.
And so I mean,
Yeah, someone to
that's
lead the ship.
Yeah, that's a loss, and
Yeah.
it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out.
Yeah. Talking about some more sad news. Actress Selma Blair. Yep.
Selma Blair.
Yep.
Blair.
Revealed that she had MS this week on an Instagram post last Saturday. It's pretty sad. I know a lot of people have to go through that. She is known for being in the Hellboy films and Cruel Intentions, but she's an amazing actress, amazing actor. I hope she gets through this and keeps fighting and keeps the positive message for other people fighting, because I know a lot of celebrities do that. Once they come out, they become a huge activist for it. I mean, we've seen Hugh Jackman, huge activist for skin cancer.
Yeah. Skin cancer awareness. And, I mean, it's... And
Well, I mean, like when you're suffering from it, you want them to try finding a cure as much as any other person, and then you can actually then become on that level of every other person that has MS.
Well, and you have the
an
platform.
understanding.
Exactly.
You have the platform that other people don't have because of your celebrity. So, I mean, it's a good thing. So,
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. Some more interesting news, iffy news. This one's pretty interesting, as I should say, or as I already said. Michael Bublé.
Would you say it's interesting?
It's very, very interesting.
I believe Logan said it was interesting.
It's interesting. His publicist came out. The Michael Bublé's publicist came out and said, people are misquoting him. He's not going to retire. During that interview, his emotions were really bad because his son just went through some treatment and it wasn't going through really well. And his publicist came out and said he's not retiring. But what if this is just the publicist being like, whoa, hold on, Michael. Hold on. Don't retire. We still need you. We still need those Christmas albums.
I feel
Well,
like
maybe he's just going to be backing off a lot more and not doing touring, and he's still going to be putting out music and doing this, but wanting to focus more time at home, not on tour.
Yeah,
I don't know. I hate to be skeptical, but I mean, I think there's a lot of people when you're an entertainer that ride your money train.
Yeah.
And when you say you're walking away, all those people, to them, that means the money's going away.
Yeah.
What? No, you can't stop.
And this isn't the first time that he's brought this up.
Yeah.
And his son has been going through a lot of medical issues for a while.
Yeah.
And I just feel like Michael Bublé does really want to just be a dad and be with his kid. And I just, so I don't know. I'm not buying the whole publicist, wait a minute, he
like
didn't mean that kind of a, was he emotional? Sure he was.
Yeah.
Do you say things when you're emotional? Sure you do. But like I said, this isn't the first time that he's hinted at wanting to walk away and spend time with his family. So I kind of feel like he was telling the truth.
Yeah.
And the money train is like, oh shit.
I mean, we shall see. Hopefully he never has to do anything he doesn't want to do. So
Wait.
we shall see.
Yeah. On this next topic, am I reading this right?
LeBron James.
LeBron James
I don't
is set to
understand
produce the Friday the 13th reboot.
You are reading that right,
I don't.
man.
I mean, the last reboot they did was fine for me.
I
Yeah.
thought
I thought it was pretty good.
I had this
I didn't watch
conversation
it.
too. I liked that reboot with Jared Padalecki from from Supernatural.
and Daniel Panabaker.
It wasn't bad.
Yeah.
I
It was-
actually thought
it kind of improved on a lot of
I
them.
thought so
said.
too. I thought like, okay, this is a good start
Yeah.
to reboot the franchise.
It actually explained some things that didn't make sense in the original.
right. And
How is he everywhere at once?
right?
They explained that.
And so, and then for whatever reason, it just dropped.
Yeah.
Because there were talks of sequels for that.
There's
one.
still
And-
talks.
and-
There was still talks of sequels before this.
and,
damn.
and
Yeah.
so, but now
Platinum
it's
Dunes.
like,
Michael Bay's people were gonna.
yeah, I don't know. I just
Well, you said like he's been watching like the horror scene recently, right?
Right.
Like, he's watching the reboot for Halloween and then
And It,
and
and-
It.
yeah,
like,
and-
so I mean. He's a smart guy. He
He's an
sees
extremely
the
smart guy.
classic horror films are like making a comeback, so he's like, I'm gonna try too. I have enough money.
Well, it's because there's no new ideas
Yeah.
situation.
Well,
Like,
and
just
he
rebooting
saw-
Take the
everything.
Lakers. All of a sudden, he's got a whole bunch of movie stuff
Exactly.
going
Yeah.
on.
well,
Like-
yeah, that's
Well,
because
also,
he's a smart man.
he probably is noticing.
No, because he's in LA now.
Yeah.
No,
The
I
budget.
think that was before he went to LA. That
That's
was like-
why he went
that-
to LA.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's why he went to LA.
Exactly. Definitely agree with that. Freaking. But the budget for Halloween was only 10 million, so he probably saw that and like, shit, I can give 10 million out of my pocket.
Exactly.
And just
I mean,
make
he
a
could
film.
fund that, and it made almost 80 million the
80,
first weekend.
yeah.
So it's already 4 times into profit.
Exactly.
So I mean, he's probably going, "Yep,
I'm sure
got
John
that."
Carpenter's a happy guy right now.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, come
Oh,
on,
yeah.
that's
Well,
That's the thing about though. Blumhouse has figured that out. Horror movies don't cost a lot to
Yeah,
make, but if
exactly.
done well, make a shit ton of money.
Yeah.
So it's all pure profit.
Exactly.
Yeah, but the
Kudos
problem
to,
is it's so easy to make like something overly cliched or
Yeah.
something
Well,
that's
that's why I
just
say
terrible
he's
with a
done
bunch
well.
of
Yeah.
jump scares
Kudos to
that don't
McBride,
work.
man. He actually, like, I was hoping he wasn't going to make a mockery of the
Yeah.
character.
But I mean, look, Blumhouse, he has figured it out. He
Yeah.
has figured out how to do cheap movies and make a shit ton of money and do
Yeah.
them well. So,
Yeah.
I mean, he's really had like what, one hiccup, Truth or Dare?
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
Yeah, that one was,
everybody
uh,
gets a hiccup.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, so.
yeah. Rightfully so.
not worth it.
Not,
Is that
yeah,
what
not
Spider-
worth it.
It was not worth it.
No.
Is that what Spider-Man says? Everybody gets one.
That's
Everybody
right.
gets
Everybody
one.
gets one.
But sticking with like the billionaires and rich people, Jeff Bezos, the NFL is targeting him to buy the Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah,
We
that-
saw recently that the owner passed away, and
Right.
so now they're looking for him. They're pretty political in the NFL.
Seahawks.
You didn't know they're
Paul
political in
Allen,
the
the
NFL?
No,
co-founder
I did-
of,
I did,
of,
but-
of Microsoft.
Oh,
I
I
had no
didn't
idea.
know that
Yeah.
publicly,
Yeah. For a while. He,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I
had no
didn't know
idea.
he was the
and
owner
the
of that either.
Supersonics. He owned the Seattle Supersonics also for a long time.
Shit.
But I like this idea.
Yeah,
I like this
mean,
idea.
he has enough money for
He's
it.
got enough money, and I mean,
he's pretty
There you go.
smart. Like, because as I was just saying, freaking, they're pretty political in the owners game with the NFL.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I know you said the NFL's gotten mad at Jerry Jones or
Yeah.
so many times or whatever. So
yeah.
They should be.
Well, and here's the thing, though. Like, if Bezos
Dallas
comes
fans
in,
should be pissed at Jerry
does,
Jones.
do they reorchestrate the merchandising deals because it could all be done through Amazon,
Ooh,
like
that's good.
through the shipping and like I mean the
That's
whole
smart, yeah.
thing. NFL.com, NFL official merchandising, like all of that could be
be done
in house,
through Amazon.
and Amazon does a sweet deal for all the owners,
Especially if
and
it's
like
Seahawks.
I mean, yeah,
You
that's
go
why they
see
get mad
Seahawks
though.
merch #1 though.
Yeah,
every
yeah.
time you
Well,
search
that's
for
why they get
NFL.
mad at Jerry Jones though, because Jerry Jones owns the Star, and
Yeah.
he does not do all of the merchandising through the NFL. He does it on his own,
Well, I mean,
and they don't like that.
The marketing for that team preceded Jerry Jones anyway, so he was basically buying a top line product. Anyway.
Right,
Yeah.
right, but to be fair, he bought it for like $100 and something million, and now it's worth nearly $6 billion.
But
Yeah.
it
Well,
was
those are the
already the most
NFL
recognizable team
And
before
Ever,
still
Jerry
is,
Jones.
yeah.
yeah. My thing though is that he took
Let's
it from
not get
that.
on the
yeah, let's not
No,
get
no,
out the
no.
Cowboys because it'll be a
thing is,
tangent.
and because it's an argument and it's a valid argument by the smaller teams, is that he keeps everything separate.
Yeah.
And the most of the NFL, even with the TV shares and all, they split the profits. They
Yeah.
divide the profits in TV. That's why these smaller market teams get pissed off, because they don't get as much money when teams from the bigger markets like LA and stuff, they get the majority of the money, and teams in Buffalo are like scrapping.
Right.
And so when Jerry Jones says you're
Cleveland.
not getting shit,
Yeah.
they get pissy about it. I
Exactly.
mean, so it's an interesting. Bezos, I think, could solve that problem.
Yeah.
though. I mean, it'd be interesting.
It'd be really
I mean,
interesting.
but it's also the NFL tried to claim rights on the Saints Florida Lee.
yeah,
Florida
Yeah.
Lee is in public domain. It's always been in
Right.
public domain.
Right.
I don't even know when like it was originally created, but they tried to even sue to own that symbol.
Yeah.
They did.
Oh,
They-
wow.
I think
Not know
it was
that.
a win and a loss.
Yeah.
They lost in the fact that anything with the Florida Lee kind of thing, but anything with the Florida Lee that was like associated with Who Dat or
Right.
anything that was like
Yes.
specifically
Yeah.
Saints,
Right.
they did win that and said
They
that
won
they
that
had to
part.
share the revenue
Yeah.
because the Saints are NFL
Yeah.
while the Florida Lee is not. So
Yeah.
if it was a Florida Lee associated with the Saints, they did owe money for
see.
that.
Yeah.
As a Saints fan, the NFL can have who dat. They can keep
they
it.
can have that.
So all right, well,
Are you tired of the Who Dat
Snapchat.
over there?
Snapchat helps 400,000 people register to vote through the app. That's pretty awesome, especially since I feel like there's going to be a young surge in or a surge in young voters, especially for this midterm election. The
I wish
freaking-
Mississippi had like a way to do online registration. We're
Right.
still you can do it
gotta print out
online,
the
and then you have to print
form,
out the form
You
and
have
send
to
it
write
off
it with
still.
a pen, And then you have to put a stamp
gosh, don't
on
even get me started on this guy.
the envelope.
Our freaking politicians in Mississippi. Speaking of to which like registering to vote is some sort of archaic process.
Right.
You talk about an entitled nation. If you think because you have to print something out, fill it out by hand, and actually mail it in the mail, that you are somehow being disenfranchised, or I mean, come on. I mean, he was acting like it was like the end of the world, that these people were like cavemen trying to scribble it on a wall somewhere. I'm like, dude, man, I get your point, but come on. It's not. It's crazy.
Politics have been huge in the entertainment limelight recently. I mean, Taylor Swift is encouraging people to vote for, where's she from, Tennessee?
Yeah.
For those midterms. So.
Yep. I mean, it's gonna be huge. And speaking of, we want everybody to go vote, because your vote does matter. I think a lot of the deadlines have passed, so if you hopefully you registered, and hopefully you can do it. Speaking of, we've got to file our absentee ballots, because we will be in LA election day. So we have to file our absentee ballots, and we will do that because it's important. Go vote.
All right, now it's time for our first guest this week, the one and only JS Mayank, the writer and creator of the hottest podcast in the country right now, America 2.0. Yeah, it's going to be great to have him on the show.
This is going to be awesome.
Yeah,
These
podcast
guys.
love, podcast BFFs, like, man.
Podcast love.
I can't wait to talk about this podcast and the relevance of right now and what society is, and we're coming right up on midterm elections.
Society should be.
It's going to be exciting to find out where the idea came from, how it all came together. Got so many questions for him.
Definitely. And we want to make sure to tell everybody, go vote.
Go vote. And you're going to hear us say that a lot today. Go vote. It does count, and it does matter. And, go click on America 2.0. Give it a listen. Vote there, too. Give it a rating. Tell them you like it, because we want a second season and or a TV show for it. So that's what it's all about. All right. I think he's getting ready to call. Hello.
Hey, this is JS.
Hey, JS. How you doing, man?
I'm well. How are you guys?
Oh, we're doing awesome. Awesome. Thanks so much for joining us today inside the Crazy Ant Farm. We are excited about this one, man.
Oh, thank you so much for having me, and, honestly, for all the support and excitement that everybody at Crazy Ant Farm has for America 2.0. I mean, it's just beyond belief, and we're so happy and excited to have your support.
Oh man, no problem at all. And ditto, man. You guys have been so supportive with us and just giving all the love back to us. So we appreciate it just as much.
Thank you for a great show.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for a great show. And we're gonna talk all about it because we, like you said, we are all excited about it. I think it's relevant. It's timely. You got the elections coming up, and I just think it was the right time to hit with it. It was a great idea, and we want to know everything about it. So
yeah, definitely.
Thank you.
So. Yo, no, just was gonna tell you that our group, we have so many of us. There's 4, 5, 6 of us sometimes, but today you're talking to me, Dustin, Logan, Jason, and Emily is here also. So that's the gang that's with us today. So
terrific. Hello, everyone.
What's up?
Hello.
All right. So first thing we want to do is kind of introduce you to the listeners and to our audience, for anybody that's not familiar with who you are and your background a little bit and how you got started into filmmaking and the entertainment industry. So why don't we start there? And is it something that you had always envisioned doing, a passion that you've had since youth, or did it kind of just come about in a different way? How did you get started?
Yeah. So this is interesting, and So, hi, I'm J.S. Mayank. I'm the director and co-writer, co-creator of America 2.0. It's interesting because you can't tell by my accent or lack thereof, but I'm actually British. I was born in England and sort of grew up all over the world. And, I always knew I wanted to be a storyteller. Mm-hmm. That was very, very obvious. But I come from a family of doctors. My parents, my uncles, aunts, cousins, everybody's a doctor. So, there was sort of just an expectation that I was going to become a doctor as well, and I had other plans. So I was very afraid that my parents were just going to be like, no, because they each had their practices and they were all set. And, to their credit, they were incredible parents. And when I told them, no, I'm not interested in becoming a doctor, and I kind of got into the med school part of it, and then told them this. So they said, okay, well, you did that, you won't be homeless, so I suppose they'll figure it out. And so they gave me their blessings, but they said, that's about all you have, because we don't understand how this works. And at that time I was in India, actually.
Oh, wow.
So not only did I say I wanted to be a filmmaker, but I said I wanted to make films in Hollywood, and they just thought at that point I'd lost my mind. I didn't know how that was going to happen. I just knew that was going to happen. And the singular moment in my life that I remember is I was 17 and I saw The Matrix. And
okay.
I was in India at that point. So I walked out of the movie theater and I told my family, that's what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. Which listeners of my show would know that I got to have a chance of working with Lawrence Fishburne. So that was a dream come true. But essentially, after that, I worked for a not-for-profit organization in India. I got a chance to work on documentaries for the United Nations, for UNESCO, for the World Health Organization. And while doing that, I just sort of fell in love with the visual medium, came to the U.S., got my master's and my MFA in directing. I went to Wake Forest first. That's where David and I, my co-writer, and I met. And, I moved to LA to pursue directing, and, I went to film school, started making movies there. And while I was still in film school, I actually got represented, and I wrote a script that was on this thing called The Blood List. It was optioned. I also happened to then become a Tribeca Fellow, so I was able to go and pitch to Robert De Niro and so on and so forth. So I only thought I wanted to do film. I wanted to be a writer-director and just do movies. And then I saw Lost.
Yes.
Everything changed for me. I was like, you can do that on TV? And it sort of changed things, and I realized that as a writer, there's so much more control that you have, on the storytelling of it. Also, I started writing television things, and that's sort of how I more broke in. I got signed by an agent. After that, I was with ICM. Then now I'm with United Talent Agency, which they're fantastic. I sold the show to Sci-Fi and Universal, and have since been developing a lot of other TV things. And so that's sort of my broad, sort of background. And also I'm being mentored by Damon Lindelof, who created Lost. So again, there's a lot of serendipity that has happened over my life where I cannot believe how these things keep happening, but it's been quite an incredible journey and experience.
Sounds like so we've established for our listeners that you're an underachiever.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Wow.
I was gonna say. So, what else have you done?
Wow. Let me just say congratulations, because I mean we could end the podcast right there. That was impressive.
that was epic, really.
That was epic.
Yeah, it's all downhill from here.
Okay, always want them leaving more, right? So
exactly. All right, thanks for joining us, JS. Wow, congratulations. I mean, seriously, that's impressive, man.
Wait. Did you say you were British? I was all like that. No, I'm kidding.
Wow. Okay, so you are okay. So you're British. That's going to be my first question leading in, because anybody who's listened to America 2.0, it's got a extremely strong grip on the American political system, and our government and what's going on in our country today. So coming from Europe and that being your background. Was American politics something that had always interested you, or how did you come about, or are you just that brilliant of a writer? You're like, I can write this, I got this. Like, how did that come about?
A lot of this, I mean, I have to share the love around. The idea originally, the Seth crazy idea, was something that David had.
Okay.
And he was talking to me, and he just said, "Whoa, what if you did this?" And I said, "That is one of the craziest things I have ever heard in my life, and my God, that would make a phenomenal show." And he said, "Wait, what?" And that's sort of how that started cracking. Like most people, I feel I wasn't a very political person, but in the last few years, it's difficult not to be one, especially if you're, somebody who is even remotely societally or civics minded. So I started paying a lot of attention, and as someone who is British but works here, lives here in the U.S. I love America. The whole idea of the American dream. That's sort of what captured my imagination when David and I started speaking about this. That I said, what does the American dream mean anymore, and what is that idea, and what does that encapsulate? Because I would say that as somebody who came here from a different country, I'm living the American dream. When I came to the U.S., I didn't know a single person, and now I, got to direct Academy Award nominee Lawrence Fishburne. And it's all happened because I worked really hard. I kept my head down. I kept doing, things and learning and progressing and being good and kind to other people. And yet we were sort of seeing like, okay, but that's not everybody's experience. So how can we bring things around? And so it was a combination of that. And then I'm somebody who is very interested in worlds and creating worlds. So whenever I pick up a topic, I usually immerse myself fully into it. So this was a combination of David's interest, and once I said, okay, if we're doing this, we're going in full force, and we just absolutely dove in. And one of the greatest compliments we keep getting is people ask us, "Oh, so how many years have you worked on the Hill?" And both David and I say 0. In fact, I've never even been to DC, and people just cannot believe that. But that's the level of research and interest that we have in the world. And obviously, since starting to take on America 2.0, I've now become a political junkie, and that's almost all I read in my spare time.
Well done, because like I said, I think the series, and we're going to talk about exactly what the series is and the premise of it and in just a couple minutes, but I think that you've done a great job of capturing the essence of the political system and what does go on the Hill, and the interaction back and forth between the parties and what's going on and how society is viewing politics right now. I think it does a great job at highlighting that. So congratulations. I mean, if the motivation was there to do that, you've done just that. So let's talk about a little bit for our listeners who haven't heard the podcast yet, and I don't think there's any out there. But if there is some people still out there who haven't heard it,
this is for the 9 people that haven't heard it.
Yeah,
that's right.
9 people.
That's right. It's 8. Somebody just clicked. So it's a 6-part scripted podcast. It's television for your ears is basically how you guys are billing it, and I think that's the perfect way to market it. But it follows a first-term congressman who, like so many people in America now, is kind of disillusioned with the way that things are, and he thinks that maybe there's a better approach or a better way, and he gets this crazy idea to give every American citizen $1 million. And he's going to use this platform to run for president and try to make this happen. So that's like the basic setup of what the podcast is. And just the idea alone of that, giving every citizen in America $1 million, that made me tune in immediately. I'm like, okay, this sounds crazy. I got to listen. So
thank you. Yeah, I mean, that was the hook. We wanted to have something crazy that will get everybody to tune in. And with that, sort of fantastical or massive hook, we hope it draws enough people in to then listen to what we're talking about. And both David and I, we loved The West Wing. To us, one of the greatest shows ever made. And we wanted to go back to sort of having a civil discourse, to really talk about politics in a way without everybody rolling their eyes or just going, this is awful. You know, politics is supposed to be aspirational, and that's something David and I talked about constantly. You know, it used to be that politics was like, you know, that the best and the brightest need to go there to lead, and now it's, you know, become like a scraping the bottom of the barrel, and that's not what it should be. It should really be idealistic and hopeful. So we wanted to do storytelling that's not naive, but is still you know, looking forward to how things could be, not how things are.
Right. And I think one of the things I think you guys do really well also is you do come at it from both sides. So wherever somebody falls politically, I feel like you guys have represented them fairly. One of the best lines in there is when Seth is talking and Kate Walsh's character says, you're trying to paint me with a red brush, and just because I'm conservative doesn't mean I'm this or I'm this. And I feel like you guys did a really great job at balancing so that you can listen to it and be objective and fair and kind of see both sides of the issue, which I think is important when you're going to do a story like this. You have to find that middle ground and get the moderates, and I think you guys do a really good job of doing that.
Thank you. That was something that we were very cognizant about, and at every step of the way, we, you know, obviously when you're writing a character, the character can have a point of view, but as the writers, we wanted to keep it fairly balanced and always have that back and forth. And Vivian Lewis, you know, Kate's character is my personal favorite character to write, because we didn't want to write caricatures. You know, that's just, it's easy and it doesn't do anybody any favors. Yeah. So we really wanted to make sure, I mean, there's a clear, you know, bent to the show, because it's one side that Seth is a Democratic candidate, but this isn't a show about Democrats. That's not what we have in mind at all.
Right. And exactly. Well, and one thing too, I think that you guys did brilliantly is the campaign, the marketing campaign that you guys did, the little viral campaign. I'll be honest, that's what got me. I kept seeing this vote for Seth, and I'm like, because I am a political junkie and a news junkie, and I'm like, did I miss something? Who the hell is Seth?
Right.
Who is this Seth guy?
And he was like, who is running for political office right now? He like looked everywhere.
Mug.
Yeah, I literally went on a Google tear to try to find who is this Seth guy I'm supposed to be voting for. You know,
how can I get that mug?
Well, that came later. How can I get the mug came later. But yeah, so I mean, it was brilliant. It definitely piqued the interest, and I know I'm not the only one who went on a hunt to try to figure out who Seth was. So well done there. And then I just liked how each kind of a phase you brought in a different hashtag and a different approach to the marketing and the viral campaign, and I thought that was absolutely brilliant, because I think you were able to capture the attention of people quickly. And kudos to you guys for the participation. I mean, all of your cast members posting the pictures with the mug and doing the videos, and that, I mean, that's absolutely fantastic. That the participation and the push to get it out there was just huge.
Yeah, I mean, I have to say, I love my cast so much, and I know everybody says this, but they have all been above and beyond. I mean, I can't even imagine how many things a lot of my incredible actors have on their docket, but anytime I would reach out to them, they, you know, the answer was yes. And I'm unbelievably fortunate to have their support, and so happy that they believe in the project so much, because, you know, they're kind of doing some big things.
Yeah.
And for them to take the time to do this, it just means the world to me. And I cannot say enough great things about my cast, all of them, but, you know, especially the top eight or 10 of my leads who sort of bore the brunt of it all. They're just fantastic, both actors and people.
Agreed. I think, and the respect is mutual. You can see it, their admiration for you and their respect for you. So I'm positive I could say safely that, you know, they feel the same about you.
Thanks. Especially when Kate threw the drink in my face.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, that video's hilarious.
Yeah, so if anybody is curious about the moment, they can go find it on social media on Kate Walsh's Instagram or Twitter, her throwing a drink in my face. And is not what we think it is.
It was great.
It was great. It was fantastic. And so yeah, following up on that, let's talk about social media. You guys are doing a fantastic job with social media.
Yeah, seriously.
So let's talk about that a little bit, because you know, as a filmmaker and being in the entertainment industry and kind of coming on the path that you came and everything, what are your thoughts on this the direction that everything seems to be going with the streaming and the digital platforms and the relevance and importance of social media nowadays compared to even just 10 years ago? Do you find it to be a tool that's beneficial? Do you find that trying to keep the pace with social media is sometimes hard to do, or what are your thoughts on the whole that type of swing in the industry?
Yeah, I mean, I think like with anything, it's a tool, and I think a tool when used well and in moderation is fantastic. It's when the sort of end use of it starts to override the actual work itself, I think is where, it can be a little bit like a snake sort of swallowing its own tail, where if the social media is dictating what the product will be, I think that's where some of it becomes problematic. But personally, I wasn't a huge social media person just because, I'm a writer, I'm a fairly private person. But once I started doing some of these projects, I realized that, no, me talking about some of these things, they're an extension of the storytelling, and everything we're doing with America 2.0 or a couple of my short films or things that I'm developing, it gives people a little bit of a peek behind the curtain, so to speak, and it gets people even more involved. And especially, I must say, the social media on America 2.0 has been so instrumental in getting us out there, and for people across the world. I mean, I've gotten messages from people from Buenos Aires and Australia and Guam and France. We had a jam named after us, which is just spectacular and mind-boggling.
Yeah,
I mean. Heard of fan fiction and fan art, but not fan food. I mean, that's spectacular. So shout out to all our incredible fans for doing these amazing things. But all that has happened, and those interactions have happened because of social media. So I'm a big proponent for it when used well and being used for getting an art form out and talking with fellow creatives, fellow admirers, and yeah, I'm all for it.
Yeah, I think you said that perfectly. We're in complete agreement with that. I mean, because the show America 2.0 did have while centered on American politics, did have an international appeal and a broad appeal. And I think social media is the perfect platform to spread that easily. Whereas 10 years ago, maybe you don't reach the foreign market as easily as you have now. So, it's absolutely. And we do the same thing. We find that it works for us as well. Just the recognition alone of projects that we're working on, or finding projects such as yourself. I mean, it's been a valuable tool for us as well. So we couldn't agree more.
Fantastic. I think you guys are just spectacular on social media. We've been taking notes and tips on what to do more.
Well, yeah, and vice versa. I mean, like I said, I thought your viral campaign was brilliant. So, we're playing off that as well. Isn't that what it's about, though? Like sharing and kind of helping, right?
Learning from each other.
Yeah,
exactly.
Community.
So, okay, let's talk a little bit more about it, and then we want to talk about some of your other projects as well. Definitely Someday. I know you guys are doing really well with Someday, and we'll get into that. But America 2.0, you kind of hinted it was a process, right? What was the time frame and bringing this all together, and kind of the process and the scope of bringing such a project together?
So, I think the broad timeline is, the 2016 election happened, and David and I started having some conversations. I was traveling internationally, and that's when I sort of asked him that question, like, what does it mean to be American anymore? And what is that thing? And, he sort of threw out that crazy idea on how, what you would do to fix the country. And I said, I don't know if that will work in real life, but my God, that would make a great show or a conceit for that. So, we started throwing ideas back and forth. And I think by April of 2017 is when he and I wrote up we actually wrote a TV pilot. And it was, just something on the side. I have a lot of other projects that I'm developing. So this was just something I was doing on the side, like for fun, because I a lot of the things that I write are fairly dark, and since the time was pretty dark, I said I need some levity and something sort of slightly uplifting to balance things out. So we wrote this, and then that's where Jeremy Gordon, our casting director and co-producer, he was my casting director for a lot of other movies that I've done. And he read the pilot and just absolutely fell in love with it. And he said, we have to do a table reading of this. So I said, great. All right, let's do it. And he started sending me names. And I said, wait, do you mean this type of actor, or do you mean this because I said, this is just me sitting on my couch writing something. This isn't like a real project or anything. He's like, no, if people don't respond to it, they won't show up. I said, okay, fair enough. And that's how I met Shanola. That's how I met Spencer. That's how I met a couple of other really amazing people. In fact, a little known fact, I don't think I'll get in trouble for this, but originally Seth, the actor we got was Nicholas Gonzalez, who is one of the leads on The Good Doctor on ABC. He had literally just wrapped the pilot, and he was in town, and Nicholas was fantastic. And, he did the table read for us, and he played Seth for the table read, and he was just terrific. But at the end of that table read, when I listened to it, said, well, I can't go shoot a pilot because, that's expensive and it's DC, but I think this would be an incredible audio series. Like, I grew up on the radio, BBC, radio dramas.
Sure.
So I've always been a fan of that medium, and hearing it read out loud and how a lot of people came up to us. And again, I would never compare us to that because he's in a whole other league of his own, but a lot of people came up to me and they were like, hey, I was on Newsroom. Hey, I was on West Wing. Hey, I was on blah, blah, blah. This seems very Sorkin-esque. And I was like, oh my God, please continue this line of conversation. But it just gave us the idea. And when I called David and I told him what I thought, so we took our pilot, broke it up into 6 short episodes, and sort of made it character focused specific so that each episode is, anchored, like it's Seth with Olivia is episode 1, Seth with Anna is episode 2, Seth with Vivian is episode, so on and so forth, so that we can easily follow people along.
Right.
And then we just went off to the races, and Spencer came on board because I remember in the table read, the second he started speaking as Porter Purvis, I called David and I said, I just met Porter Purvis. And he just was that character. And I remember just him being so perfect. So he came on board the team. And, within a few months, we had this thing cast. And I gotta say, every person we went to said yes. That we didn't get a single no. The only no's were people where you would approach somebody and they're just out of the country for the next 6 months, so they didn't even get a chance to look at the material. But every person the script went to said yes. And that's just, almost an unheard of thing. And, I've been working in Hollywood for now 7 or 8 years. This just does not happen. So we knew we had something special. And then by December, we had recorded everything. And, beginning of the year is when we started putting it all together. By February, March, we had the whole thing cut and edited. And that's when Global company came on board. They loved it. And their only note to me was this one thing. They said, we love it. You have final cut. We don't want to change a single frame. However, we think this should come out closer to the midterm elections.
Yeah, that was pretty genius.
Was the smartest decision because I was ready to go out with it in April or May. And they said, nope, we should wait 3 months. And it was the best decision we ever made. So kudos to Global for Global and Dax to have that foresight and thinking it through. So that's sort of the timeline of how all of this came together.
Awesome. And listen, I mean, a credit to you and David for the writing, and I think the Sorkin comparison is a good one. I thought the same thing. In fact, when we were talking about getting interested in the podcast and reaching out to you guys and doing the stuff, I mean that was my elevator pitch. The newsroom meets the West Wing. I mean that it truly does have that feel to it. So I think those comparisons are fair, and I think that's a kudos to why you were able to land the cast that you landed, because like you said, they knew that there was something there, and that's all to you and David's writing and the way that the characters are developed and the story comes together. So congrats on that, and well deserved.
Thank you. And if David, when you're listening to this, you can stop grinning, because I know that just made you so happy.
Yeah, listen, we're big fans. I love dialogue and I love character development, and I think you guys do a great job of doing that throughout. And I'm a huge Patrick J. Adams fan. I'm not going to lie. I thought that was brilliant casting as Seth. I've been a fan of his for a while, and I just think he's got that I don't know, the likability. He's just a guy that you want to listen to. So, especially with an audio series, you want that person that can convey what they're trying to say while talking. And I think he's perfect for what he's trying to do with this message.
He is phenomenal, such a gifted artist, and just so on point. And, that was the thing, because he had just come off of Suits.
Right.
And, when we had a conversation about it, and he just said, look, give me a couple of weeks. I need to, I need to become this person. And when he showed up, I mean, he was Seth MacGuire. Even between takes, all we did was talk politics.
Yeah.
So that was the fun part of it. That I would be the director talking about what we're doing, what we just did, or with the tweaks, and then the second I would turn around, it would be him and David talking about politics, and I'm like, okay, this is great. We're keeping him in Seth MacGuire land at all times. He couldn't have been more gracious and amazing, and yeah, I too am a huge Patrick J. Adams fan.
Well, and I think I'm sure the Suits followers, the Suiters as they call them, came in droves to listen to America 2.0, and for people who were unfamiliar with Patrick J. Adams, I'm sure now a whole new fan base has come from America 2.0. So yeah, it's just phenomenal cast from top to bottom. And we're going to talk obviously with Jeremy about that. Well, we're going to have him on, and we're going to talk about, but just well done. I mean, the cast is brilliant. So I could not be more happy for y'all that you were able to pull such an eclectic and just brilliant group of people together.
Thank you. Yeah, and especially, that some of that started even at the writing phase where, I think Riz Ahmed talks about representation versus diversity, because when you just say diversity, a lot of it feels like you're talking about the other. But when you look around, I mean, when we started writing this, I said to David, like, I want to make a concerted effort for it to look like the America of today. Like, it needs to look like America 2018. And so that part was really important to us, and I am so glad to have such an incredible, just amazing spread of my cast members in what we're able to do. So hopefully that comes across too, that there's multiple points of view and representative of a lot of different people.
Absolutely. So what's the end game with America? I know what I want. So let's talk about the end game a little bit. Are we going to get a second season of it as a podcast or as a radio serial? Or are we hoping to get a TV series? Because I'm hoping for a TV series. So what's your end game, and what are the future plans for America 2.0 that people can count for?
So I can't talk too much about that, but all I will say is that we're exploring a lot of different possibilities, and we have a lot of interest for a variety of different things, be it another season, be it a possible continuation in another form as a serialized TV show or some kind of series. So we're just trying to keep it open. At the moment, we just really want to reach as many people as possible with the first season, build that fan base, show people how much enthusiasm and appetite there is for smart, positive, and hopeful political shows. Because, you know, we had House of Cards, we had Scandal, but I feel like right now, which were tremendous shows, but I think we need a little bit of a different kind of political show now, especially in the times we are. So we feel we're right there in the conversation. And, you know, hopefully I will say this, there's a lot more of the story and ideas and ideals of Seth MacGuire's that we want to get out. So however that happens, hopefully there's enough interest to continue it further.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. And listen, we're going to just continue to do our part. We're going to continue to push it. We're going to continue to share it everywhere. We're going to continue to tell people to go listen to it because we're behind it. I think you're right. I think you've got something there. I think it's the right type of a political drama that would fit for today and people need to hear. And ending on that, I want to say congratulations to you guys because you know, there's a lot of people out there that when they get a platform, they don't use it responsibly or they don't understand what they potentially have. And I think when people do it properly, I mean, you guys are in an industry and have a platform to where you can get engagement and get people involved and informed, and to do it in such a manner with this podcast, or I think it's a brilliant thing to do because I think that's a lot of the problem in today's society is that we don't have enough people engaged or enough people informed, especially the younger people.
Well, this gets people to have a conversation with each other that should be had.
Exactly. And this show is a great way to start that conversation. So congratulations on that. And thank you for using the platform to get the message out there because I think it is all about starting a conversation, and I think America 2.0 starts a conversation in a great way.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for saying that. And yeah, that's exactly what we're hoping to do. So I'm glad to hear that it's accomplishing some of that at least.
Oh, it is definitely accomplishing that. So let's talk a little bit about other stuff that you're working on. Like I said, Someday, you guys are running the festival circuit with Someday right now, correct?
Yeah. You know, we just got into our 19th film festival, which is spectacular. You know, I've just been so busy on America 2.0 that we just had our LA premiere at the downtown LA Film Festival this past weekend, and you know, I was with my producer and lead actress Catherine Castro, who was also in America 2.0 in the first episode. She plays Rita Torres, and she's a phenomenal actress. And I was talking to her. I was like, "What are we up to? Like 6 or 7 festivals?" And she said, "No, we're up to 19." And I could not believe the love for this short film. So for those who don't know, Someday is it's a short film that I wrote and directed. It's about 2 people, 2 strangers who meet on a flight from Sydney to Los Angeles. So it's a nonstop 14-hour flight, and sort of just a conversation about what happens between 2 people when you have an instant connection, how you can sometimes talk with them in a way that's a lot deeper than you would somebody you know for sure, because you don't know if you'll ever see them again. So it's a lot about the sparks flying, about that connection, knowing that they might never see each other again, and what happens. So it's very much in the tone of like a Lost in Translation or a Before Sunset or Sunrise and those kinds of movies.
Yeah, and the trailer is available for everybody to see. I thought the trailer was beautifully shot. Cinematically, it looks fantastic. And yeah, I think it's a great story. I agree with you. I love the idea of 2 people being able to connect in this way that, you know, you're unable to do maybe with somebody you're around all the time. I love that. I think it's a great idea. So you're running the festival circuit. Are people going to be able? When do you think people can be able to see this film and kind of get it out there for the viewing audience to see?
Yeah, I'm hoping that, you know, probably early next year, because we're still on the festival circuit, so we want to get that out by the end of the year, and hopefully early next year it will probably be available. So if people just, you know, keep on my social media, you know, I keep everybody informed about that. That would be great. Also, you know, they can follow me on my Vimeo channel. It's just JS Mayank, and they can check out my other movies as well. In fact, one of them was called Emit, that played at about 50 festivals around the world. And that was a sci-fi short film that I did, How I Met Jack Coleman. He was the lead in that one. And that's how I met Jeremy Gordon as well. So a lot of my team sort of started. Antonio Lepore, my composer, scored that one as well. He scored Someday too. So, you know, a lot of the people involved in America 2.0, the origins were a bit in Emit. And that's a 10-minute short film that's available online right now for free.
Awesome.
And it's about a world where time flows backwards. So it's like a 10-minute Twilight Zone episode.
Well, that's fantastic. Okay, and that's on your Vimeo channel?
Correct.
All right, awesome. And we're going to continue to direct everybody to all of your social media. I mean, we're trying to get as many people to follow you guys as possible, so we're going to continue to keep doing that.
Podcast BFFs.
That's right, podcast BFF.
Follow this man.
That's right. Well, and you know, another thing that I really like that just coming out of that conversation right there is I love the fact that it's great when you develop a team, isn't it? And you can just go from project to project with people that you know and trust, and have the results that you guys are having. Because I mean, you guys have had a lot of success together.
Thank you. Yeah, no, it's incredible. I think it's all about the team, and you know, the further you get in, you know, you keep adding people to the team. So, you know, David and I have been best friends for 12 years now, and then, you know, along the way I added Antonio as my composer, I had Jeremy as my casting director. Now anything I write, I'm thinking, how do I get Spencer Garrett in this, because anything is going to sound infinitely better with him saying it, you know. So it's like with him as absolutely as an actor, but also as a producer, he's just a tour de force, and you know, just like is spectacular at moving mountains, you know, with what he can do. So yeah, I completely agree. I think when you work with somebody and you have a good equation with them, you understand, and you all have the same sort of storytelling sensibilities, it really helps to go that way. And you know, I was lucky enough to be, I feel like I am lucky enough to have all these incredibly talented people around me, and for some reason they keep wanting to listen to what I have to say, so I will keep that going as long as I can.
Absolutely. Well, listen, I think a lot of it has to do with your humility. You seem very humble and appreciative of what you have and what you've been able to accomplish, and I think because of that, that's why people want to work with you and keep listening and doing what they're doing with you. And I think you guys are just getting started, man. I think you guys have a long, huge future in Hollywood. And I'm wishing for the very best for America 2.0 and the other projects you have going on. And just sincerely, I think you guys are fantastic. You guys are great people. Aside from the amazing talent that you guys have and the projects that you're doing and all of the stuff that you've done for us as well, I just think you guys are great people. And we appreciate that more than anything else, man.
Oh my God, I so appreciate that, and likewise, you know, anything we can do to help and support, and you know, we want to keep continuing to come on the podcast and talk not just about this, but future projects and anything we can do, you know, so to sort of keep the synergy going. I think that would be interesting. And yeah, can I take a moment to plug something?
Absolutely.
Oh no,
awesome.
absolutely
Well,
not.
I mean, just because, you know, America 2.0,
on,
it's something that's connecting with people all over. But you know, the one thing we wanted to say was, you know, for people to actually check out the website if they can, it's reinventingtomorrow.com. Right. And that's where they can get, you know, those awesome mugs and t-shirts and, you know, just all kinds of paraphernalia should they be interested. We have amazing hats, you know, we have 2 different kinds of mugs, and people are really enjoying those. But I constantly get asked, like, where can we get that? And I'm like, okay, I need to do a better job of telling people how they can actually get it.
Yeah, I'm loving it. I'm drinking from the mug right now. It's fantastic. Yeah. I went with vote for Seth. I guess I got to get my America 2.0, but I got the vote for Seth mug.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And look, we'll promote the website as well for you and get that. I mean, it's all about the merchandising, man. Got to get it out there. So
absolutely.
Yeah. Fantastic. Great. So I just had a question. I just wanted to know, what were some of your favorite, well, you know, without getting too spoilery, because we don't want to do that, but, you know, I'm always curious, like, what were some of your favorite characters or moments or something in particular, if you wanted to know, without getting too spoilerific?
Well, I think my favorite episode overall was probably the ice episode.
Yeah.
Ah,
Yeah, I really enjoyed that one.
Agreed.
The date, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the date.
Well,
the ice episode
that
slash
is
the
my
date.
favorite episode as well.
Yeah. Well, and the imagery. I mean, it's so funny that you say imagery when you're talking about an audio show. But like when he's talking about, I can do this several ways. I can take this and break the ice all apart.
Yeah,
Or
exactly.
I mean, just
That whole scene, I can see it in my head.
Exactly. Exactly. You could see it. It plays out really well. So, I love Spencer's character, obviously.
Yeah.
I mean, when he read the rock, I mean, it's like got to be one of the most
Yeah.
the most well delivered lines throughout the whole series. Yeah, so and I loved it because I was joking so much because I made a goofy little tweet about how I want to be the press secretary for Seth, and then I found out Spencer'd be my boss, so I was like, yeah,
Yeah.
I'd work for
Yeah,
Spencer.
careful what you wish for, Dustin.
Right.
Right? He could, that could be a little scary. Maybe we'll find out.
I also really enjoy Autumn Reeser's character on the show.
Yeah, Olivia Huff,
Yeah.
chief of staff. Yeah, she's got to be the White House chief of staff. I'm just saying, what would Seth do without her, right? So.
Exactly. Yes. But as usual, I think we're going to do something very much in tone with the show, where it's expectedly unexpected.
Expectedly unexpected. That's a good tease, man. That's a great tease. So,
Thank you. I mean, that was my whole thing, without saying what it is, but towards the end when we get certain reveals and we understand Josie, a lot of those things are uniquely familiar. They're familiar because we know the dynamic, but they're unique because of the execution of it, and that's something that is very important to me, that I always try to go in for the human connection, that what will make something very universal, and yet I will make it super specific, that it could only happen between these two characters. And I think that's why people really are resonating with a lot of this, because I could have kept it generic, but every time we were going that way, I would say, no, how can we root this into a very specific way where we still get the emotional tonality, we still get that connection, but do it unexpectedly.
Right.
And so throughout America 2.0, we have a lot of different things and ideas that we have built, but we will always want to do them, in a slightly different way. But, I love Olivia's character. I mean, she's just fantastic. And Autumn just crushed it every time.
we're all huge fans of Autumn. So, yeah, and I'll tell you, we all raised an eyebrow without giving a spoiler away. We'll just leave it at, we want to know, Dan and Olivia, what's going on there. That all kind of like, wait, what? So yeah. You guys did do a great job though with the subplots, like you said, setting up little underlying stories that are going on, and you definitely the character development was just fantastic.
Thank you, and especially I'll give you guys a quick story because you brought up ice. One of the most incredible moments I've ever had, throughout this experience was getting to play the episodes for Mr. Fishburne, because, when he had recorded, he said, I want to hear it before it all airs, and that was a very valid point. But I didn't have it, available so I could just send it. So I actually went and played it for him, and I asked him, would you just want to hear your scenes? And he said, no, I want to listen to the show. So we just started on episode 3 because it was my favorite. He said, play me something that you love. And I started, and he just, like, the episode flew by, and at the end of it, he just looks at me and he goes, not to take anything away from this or your directing, but, the chemistry that Patrick and Kate have. I mean, that's just incredible, and that's something you cannot fake. So you just lucked out that you have such terrific actors and that they know each other so well, they're so comfortable. And I'm smiling the entire time, and he just looks at me and he goes, why are you smiling? And I said, I agree with everything you said except for the fact that Patrick and Kate have never met each other.
Wow. Okay, so that is an interesting story, because even in the final episode, that last scene between the two of them was like epic.
What I was going to say was
Absolutely.
What I was going to say was my favorite thing is pretty much that speech that he gives her, or they give each other about differences and similarities amongst people, is the through line for the show for me, and I think that spoke to me more than anything else. That's the one thing that should be the conversation that's being had
Exactly.
by anyone that listens to it.
Yeah.
Right, that we have far more alike than we do apart.
That's what I took
so-
away with. That was one of my favorite things. That
Exactly.
exchange
Yeah.
between those two characters.
Yep.
Absolutely, but what really gets me excited is, with the exception of like a couple of actors, almost none of them were in the room together.
Right.
So in fact, the Porter introduction scene where there's 4 people, all 4 were recorded in 4 different studios months apart.
Wow. Well, kudos to the directing. I think, wow, there must have been a great director there to be able to pull that off and get them to. Well done, sir.
appreciate
Well
that.
done.
Thank you. No, but I mean, hats off to my incredible sound team, Rusty Dunn, who did all the dialogue editing and sound effects, and then Mitch, who mixed it all, and the incredible music by Antonio. I mean, I know you guys, hopefully plan to speak with him, but please, my God, how amazing is his theme for America 2.0?
yeah,
Is it not incredible?
It's incredible. Get you inspired before you hear a word. Yeah.
seriously.
Yeah, because I told him, I'm like, look, that's going to be one of the first things you hear once the show gets going. I need everybody to get stoked. So, like, after episode 1, every time that theme comes on, I want everybody to go, oh my God, this is going to be good.
Yeah.
And I need, so I was like, so no pressure, but the bar's pretty high, and he delivered it spectacular.
It is. It is. And we definitely plan on having him on. We want to have all of y'all on at some point. So, yeah, well, listen, open invite. Anytime you want to come back and continue to talk about America 2.0 or any of the projects that you're currently in development on, or when something comes out and you want to promote, we would love to have you on. Open invite. You just give us a call and say, hey, I want to come on, and we'll make it happen.
That is fantastic. Thank you so much. And likewise, just please reach out to me if there's anything ever I can or we can do to help out, facilitate, or anything else. We think it's amazing what you're doing. I'm now listening to your podcasts and all the incredible interviews you do. Love the one with Riley, and shout out to Riley. Thanks so much for all your love for our show. Because it's just been incredible, and just making a lot more friends and fans through both America 2.0, but also just through the connections with what you guys are doing is spectacular, and we're very appreciative of it.
Well, thank you for the kind words. We appreciate that, and absolutely, we will definitely keep doing what we're doing, and you keep doing what you're doing, and we'll just keep building, right?
Fantastic. Thank you so much, guys.
No, and listen, like I said, thank you so much for coming and talking to us. And it's been fantastic, man.
Great. Well, I cannot wait to hear what Spencer has to say. I know he's going to be on the podcast as well, and I know he's always entertaining and he's amazing. So I'm excited for you guys to go ahead and chat with him next.
Awesome. Well, listen, have a great rest of the day, and we will definitely be in touch soon. And by the way, we live tweet during these things. So when it airs Friday, we live tweet. So you can expect a whole lot of interaction when the show's airing. So
great. Terrific.
Your hashtags will be everywhere.
Hashtag podcast BFF.
That is spectacular. I really appreciate it. Well, I'm so excited for Friday and, just the future interviews and episodes and all that stuff. And let's keep the synergy going. Oh, and I also wanted to tell you guys, because I know you had on another episode, you wanted a different language translation of your Crazy Ant Farms. Would you like to know what it is in Hindi?
Absolutely.
Okay. So I don't know if you'll be able to say it, but let me say it for you. It's Pagal Titi Kate.
Pagal Titi Kate?
There you go. Pagal Titi
I'm not even
Kate.
Yeah, go ahead and give it a shout.
Okay, I love this, man. I mean, we're going to go international thanks to these guys.
Yep.
Yeah, that is fantastic. We're definitely okay. What I'm going to need you to do is shoot that to me in a message so that I can actually write that out, because I would have no clue.
Yeah, that's a soundbite right there.
That's right.
We'll totally do that. We'll do it on Twitter so everyone can see it too.
Absolutely. Man, awesome. Well, listen, have a great rest of the day, and we will definitely be in touch soon. And just thanks again so much, man.
Thank you, everybody. Have a fantastic day. And again, I thank you so much for having me on.
All right, man. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Stay crazy.
That was so
Wow.
freaking epic,
Oh,
man.
my
Oh my
goodness.
goodness.
Okay, I'll be honest. I had no idea he was a Brit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, seriously,
like,
no idea.
When he opened that up, I was like, what?
Well, I was actually somewhat exhausted from his resume.
Well, I mean, yeah, wow. That just like
Oh,
straight up.
wait. I was like, wait. You're British?
Yeah, right. I mean, and okay, we've already talked to somebody else that we're really excited about airing. Also, who also 19 JS 19.
Right.
Anybody who's out there listening, and you think that you can't make this happen, or chase your dream, or chase your passion, and you have people telling you get a real job, or you're too young, or it can't happen. Yes, it can. And these amazingly talented, wonderful people that keep joining us week in and week out are the example of yes, you can. So go out there, inspire somebody, be inspired by somebody, chase the dream. You're going to make it happen.
And vote.
And vote. And vote.
All right, now it's time to have our next guest on, the one and only Spencer Garrett. Man, we basically don't have to introduce this guy because our last guest, JS, freaking did it for us.
Yeah.
Basically.
Took our job.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, what has this guy not been in? 21 Jump Street, The Crow, Family Matters. I mean, we're going back,
I know
man.
something he hasn't been in, but we're not going to talk about that.
Well, and apparently JS just dropped some info saying he's a producing powerhouse.
Yeah,
like, I mean,
seriously.
yeah, it's going to be fun to talk to this
Hell
guy.
yeah.
I mean,
Superman.
yeah, yeah. It's like, I mean, it's going to be fantastic.
Yeah, definitely.
Crazy Ants.
Yes, Spencer Garrett. How are you, sir?
What's going on, guys?
Oh man, you know,
Living the dream.
That's right.
Living the dream.
That's right.
Living the Mississippi dream.
Living, yeah, which is currently dreary and rainy and warm and muggy. So
You know what?
The dream.
It's a beautiful day, and we're all above ground, and it's a good reason to celebrate.
absolutely,
Exactly.
Whether you're in
absolutely.
Mississippi or LA, it's about 90 degrees here, by the way. So you all are welcome to come on out anytime.
Oof, yeah.
On the way.
On the way. That's right. All right, we're gonna have to end this now, Spencer. We're on our way.
We're actually in the car right now.
That's right. That's right. Listen, man. Thank you.
How many of you crazy ants am I talking to, by the way?
Okay, today it's three of us. It's myself, Logan, and Jason. So Dustin, Logan, and
Okay.
Jason. Yep. You got like half of the Crazy Ant gang today, right? Like,
Hell yeah.
Nice.
so thank you so much for
What
joining
is
us.
what's the origin of the crazy ant? I've been dying to know. What's the origin of the name Crazy Ant?
Of the
What's that all
name.
about?
Okay, so yeah, that's interesting.
'Cause I
Basically,
have a crazy Aunt Doris, but that's not the same thing.
nope. Okay, so basically, I wanted to, for it's all about imagery nowadays with social media and digital and getting it. So I wanted to have an identifiable character, and I'm kind of an old school guy, so I thought it was important to somehow mix old school with digital and what's going on. So hence, if you look at the
I love
logo really careful, you've got the old film reel, but you've also got the digital lens eyes, and those that make up the eyeballs for the Crazy Ant.
I love that logo. I love it. I'm all about it.
Well, that's the brilliant Tavia Marinovich, who isn't here today, but she is part of our normal group, and she was brilliant. I went to her, I said, this is what I want, and boom, there it was, and it was beautiful, which
Nice.
kind of developed.
Yeah, super cool logo, guys.
Well, thanks. And then Crazy Ant itself, the breed of ant is actually ant that kind of infiltrated the South here and is known to really get in and mess up your electronics and cause all kinds of heyday and craziness with electronic gear. And I'm thinking perfect, because we want to be crazy. We want to get in there and disrupt things and be
we
out of the box.
We want to
And
destroy electronics.
that's right. Destroy electronics. That's right.
I love it.
That's kind of where the whole Crazy Ant came from. So
We're all about wrecking
There's a great book, just apropos of nothing. There's a great book by a scientist named A.O. Wilson, and if you look it up, and he wrote the definitive book on ants. It's almost like a coffee table art book, and it's everything you ever wanted to know and everything you don't want to know about ants. And look it up. And there was a documentary about ants years ago, and I became fascinated with ants. And so and now I'm actually talking to.
That's right.
Crazy ants
You're talking to
themselves.
crazy ants.
Crazy ants.
You're talking to crazy ants inside an ant farm. So I mean, there you go. I mean,
beautiful.
Funny how the world works.
I used to have. Do you remember? Are you guys hip to Uncle Milt? I think it was. Uncle Milty. Uncle Milty's ant farm.
Yes.
There was a.
Yeah, there's a couple of us here that are old enough to remember that. So yes.
Well, unfortunately, I am. And there was a thing that you could buy in a toy store years ago, and it was an ant farm, and it was like a glass. It was 2 sheets of glass, and it was filled with sand.
Yep.
And you bought the ants, and you could actually watch the ants do their thing.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And I was on an airplane flying from LA to New York, and I met the guy who invented it, and he gave me an ant farm on the flight. And I had it for years, and I was fascinated. We're talking way too much about ants, by the way.
Yeah. So you're an experienced ant farm guy. That's fantastic. Yeah.
I'm an experienced ant farm guy, so I can't wait. I can't wait to see you guys in your natural habitat.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be. Get ready because we're crazy. So we're just gonna warn you right now.
I'm terrified.
There you go. So, listen, man, congratulations first and foremost on America 2.0. You guys are just knocking it out of the park with this thing.
You guys are, I just got to say, before we go forward, you guys are absolutely amazing. Your fandom has been so astonishing to us and so great. You've been showing us so much love every day, and it's just really beautiful. We really appreciate it. So I just want to say that I know you talked to JS earlier today, the director and writer and creator of the show, but the way you guys have been promoting us and tweeting us and loving us up, we couldn't thank you enough. It's really appreciated.
Stop it. Stop. Keep going. No. No, you're very welcome, man. Listen, we are huge fans of the show, please, it's our pleasure to promote it the way we have been, and we're going to continue to do so. We think you guys are absolutely phenomenal. We think the premise of the show and the platform and the message that the show sends are relevant and needed today. And yeah, anything we can do to continue to keep promoting it and getting it out there for you guys, absolutely, we're going to keep doing it, man.
Right on.
But
Thank
enough
you.
about us.
Yeah,
What about you? What do you think of us? No,
no, stop.
No, I'm kidding.
So let's talk about it a little bit. JS kind of hinted at it a little bit, but we want to hear from you. How did you get involved with it? How did it all come about for you to come in and by the way, Read the Rock, it's got to be one of the most epic lines delivered. I mean, I can't say it enough. Read the Rock.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, listen, the thing is, it's 6 episodes. It's filled with so many great lines. He is such a delicious writer. I mean, he and David Carlisle together, this pilot script, it started out as a 1-hour pilot script that we read. I was invited to a table read by our other producer, Jeremy Gordon, who's also the casting director. He invited me to come to a table read up at AFI, American Film Institute, and I didn't know JS. I hardly knew Jeremy, and I sat down, and for the next hour, I sat around the table with all of these wonderful actors reading these really just delicious, fun, smart words. And I went up to JS afterwards, and I said, "Hey, man, I hate to sound like one of those actors, but I loved your writing so much." And I said, "Can we stay in touch? If anything comes of this, I'd really love to be a part of it." And, and he said, "I think I might have found my Porter Purvis. I think you're the guy." And I said, "Oh, you're my new best friend." And
yeah, well, listen.
We stayed in touch, and then cut to the idea for the podcast came about because we didn't really want to wait any longer for Hollywood to come calling. So JS came up with the idea of turning it into a podcast. They chopped it up into the 6 15-minute episodes, or I guess each episode is sort of between 8 and 20 minutes long, and I think it was about 3 months from the time they decided to do that to the time they had the 6 episodes. It all moved so incredibly quickly, and I said I wanted to come on board as a producer. They asked me to be on board as a producer, and I was delighted to. And I started making phone calls, and I had this idea for Lawrence Fishburne as the president, and I asked him, and he said yes, and it was kind of like all the cards fell into place.
Yeah.
And JS, I'm sure he might have told you at some point, he had this, as a kid in India, in Delhi, he had this reverence for the Matrix.
Right.
So the idea that he could get to work with Lawrence Fishburne, on something that he'd written, was a dream come true for him, and to be able to make that happen is really amazing. And Kate Walsh is a friend, and Patrick Adams is a friend, and so I just called up friends and said, "Hey, you want to come and work for a bag of Fritos and $1.50?" And everybody said yes.
Sold.
And you know, we knocked these things out. We knocked these recordings out. As you know, the production value is like nothing I've ever heard. First of all, I didn't really know what a podcast was when I embarked on this, and I've since become, you know, kind of very well schooled in all the other ones that are out there. But the sound quality, the production quality, the music, Antonio Lapore's music, everything about it sonically it's like, you know, as JS coined the term, it's like TV for your ears. It's
Absolutely.
like listening to. It envelops you and it brings you inside this world in such an amazing way that you feel like you're eavesdropping on these people's lives, for, you know, for 10, 15 minutes.
Absolutely.
It's that good. And so, I think there were very few instances where actors were actually in the same room with each other, doing the scenes opposite one another, like Patrick Adams and Kate Walsh. They weren't the great scenes that they have together, the great chemistry that they have together. They were not in the same room with one another, and you know, it was really just amazing how it came together and the finished product. And you feel like you're in the boardroom of the Washington newspaper, and you feel like you're in Capitol Hill. The sound of the footsteps. Dana Bash is somebody that I know very well from CNN, and the little clickety-clack of the heels across the marble floors of the Capitol. You know, you hear that. You hear everything about the sights and sounds of what it's like to be, you know, in that world in Washington, D.C.
You really do. I mean, yeah, all the way down to the phones ringing in the office and the ambient sound of the televisions, and yeah, it's absolutely brilliant. And he did, by the way, he did share the story where once you did the table read, he knew immediately he had found his porter. So it was very much a reaction of like what you had. He knew right away it was you. So if you know, when you hear the interview, he was attached from the get go as soon as you read the part. So
that's so cool. Yeah.
And cool. Yeah, listen, I want to go back because I think one of the words that you used to describe it, and I want to touch on that because I agree wholeheartedly. Smart. I think it is very smart in the writing. I'm a big dialogue guy, and I love smart dialogue that makes you think and that has a message. And I think that the writing of this and then the portrayal by all of you as the cast and bringing these characters to life, it does just that. It's got a message and it makes you think. I also said that I thought you guys did a brilliant job of showing both sides, no matter where you fall, what side politically. I think you guys were able to say, hey, look, this is this way and this is this way, but we have a lot more in common than we do different, and we can do this.
I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you pointed that out, because it's not a partisan show. It's very bipartisan. It's very aspirational, and it doesn't take sides one way or the other. You know, it lets you. Seth is obviously a Democratic congressman,
right?
But there's Democrats and the Republicans, and they're working together, and it has a great, kind of reaching across the aisle vibe to it. It's as JS has described it. It's kind of it's a little bit of West Wing mixed with a little Jerry Maguire with a little Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. I mean, it's the best of it has the best elements of all of the great political dramas.
It really
does. Crackling good writing, and it lets you, and it doesn't preach. It doesn't push you in one direction or other. And even as Lawrence Fishburne said, you know, he calls it an iron fist in a velvet glove.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is a perfect description for it.
It is a perfect, and one scene that I think highlights it so well is in the final episode where Seth is talking and Kate Walsh's character says, "You're painting me with a red brush just because I'm a conservative. Yeah. We are not all grouped this way or this way." And I think it does a really good job of calling out people who think that way. And so, yeah, absolutely, just brilliant writing, brilliant acting from the cast. Kudos to the cast. I think it's a phenomenal cast. The people that came together to do this show is just amazing.
Isn't it? It really is. I mean, you think about Ming Na, Autumn Reeser, Patrick, Iqbal Theba, the great Iqbal Theba from, we've seen in Glee and so many things. Even the people that came in to do small roles, for a day or a couple of scenes. Steven Weber,
right,
just came in and absolutely crushed it. Catherine Castro, our narrator, I guess, our interviewer. She's not really a narrator, but Tamsin, the woman who is interviewing Patrick Adams on the plane. Lorian Haynes, a wonderful, wonderful English actor and playwright and an artist. And I immediately thought of her when JS said, we need a great voice. And she's got a perfect voice that just sort of draws you in.
Oh,
so all of the tertiary characters are so beautifully filled out. So it's we couldn't have gotten luckier with the casting.
Yeah, congratulations.
Because, when we sat down and we were sort of going through our wish list, the fact that we got most of the people on our wish list is unheard of, especially for a podcast where nobody was really making any dough. They were just doing it for the love of it and for the love of the writing.
Yeah. Agreed, and congratulations. We told JS, I think that's a compliment to his writing that everybody came on board and was willing to do it. Clearly, you guys had something there. I mean, it's definitely a message that resonates with people. That's evident by not only the success you've seen here, but even overseas and internationally. You guys have got a huge following, and I just think that's a huge credit to all of the people involved and the way that you've brought this message.
That it's crossed the pond. I mean, we were number one in Canada, number one in Australia, number one in France, number 3 in the UK. I don't know what's wrong with those guys that we're only number 3, but screw the UK. No, it's been, they lost the war, and so now they're mad at us.
That's right. That's
right. But no, it's just been amazing, and in such a short amount of time.
Yeah, you guys. Well, no, what I was going to say is I think a lot of that has to do with, and I kind of brought this up with JS. Your guys' viral marketing campaign to get this thing off the ground and to spark the interest was absolutely brilliant.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just thought the Vote Seth thing and then moving it forward with all of the different phases of the hashtags. You guys knew how to attack it on social media and get people talking about it before they even knew what they were talking about. And I think in today's day and age of social media and digital and the way the things are, it was a brilliant marketing campaign to get this thing noticed.
It's almost like we knew what we were doing.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Look, you had me.
I wish I could say we had a master game plan from the very beginning, but I don't know. JS might argue with this, but I don't know that we actually had a master game plan. We didn't know that this was going to be a podcast to start out with, and then it became this podcast, and then JS and David and his team came up with this marketing idea, and using Twitter and Instagram. And it's just the way it's unfolded and the way people have responded to it is pretty extraordinary.
Listen, I'm a political and news junkie. I shared this with JS. I'm just going to tell you had me in a Google frenzy trying to find out who this Seth guy was and why I missed it somehow.
And where can I get one of those mugs?
Yeah, and of course where to get the mug. Yeah, but I was like, who is Seth and why do I not know? I fashion myself as I know everything about what's going on in politics and news, and I'm like, I don't know who Seth is. Who the hell is this guy?
I was walking around. I live in an area in LA called Larchmont Village. It's like a little 3-block long stretch of LA that's like, it's sort of modeled after a little New England town. It's like 3 blocks of streets of shops, restaurants, and stuff. So I would wear my Vote Seth T-shirt around the neighborhood, and people are like, "Who is that guy? What district is he in? Is he in the California 48th, or where is he? I haven't seen him on the ballot. I haven't heard him talk about." Right. And then, of course, it gives you an opportunity to talk about the podcast, which I do ad nauseum everywhere I go.
Right.
Now we have the hats and the T-shirts and the mugs. I hope you guys have you got your stuff?
I do have my Vote Seth mug.
Right on.
I love my Vote Seth mug. You'll see it in many future videos that we post. I've got to get on it. I got to get my America 2.0 mug and hat. So, but yeah, you guys, again, and we're going to push.
If we see you out here in LA, we'll hook you up.
Oh, fantastic. All right. I'm going to hold you to that now.
Very cool.
We are going to push the website because we want people to wear the merchandise. So we want to continue to keep spreading the love. I think it's just, and again, I want to say this, and I said this to JS. I want to say it to you and everybody involved. I think that when you guys are in the position that you're in, and you have a platform for your voice to be heard, and you do this in a responsible manner, because I was saying, I think a lot of the problem today with society, and especially the younger generations, is engagement and being informed. And so when we see people like you guys with a platform and being able to do something so aspiring and so positive to get the engagement and to get people informed and to get out and vote, I commend you guys wholeheartedly for that. I think it's important. I think that's what's going to get things back on track in this country, is to get the youth engaged, and this is the perfect type vehicle to make that happen. So thank you for that. I mean, everybody involved, thank you for that. I think it's important.
Can you repeat everything you just said so I can write it all down? Or can we just hire you as our publicist? Because that was absolutely everything you just said was absolutely spot on. You know, it's a political show, but it's a political show for people that don't really, you know, that don't really care about politics too much, or it's a political show for people that love politics, but it lets you decide how you want to engage, and it also encourages people to engage at the same time.
Absolutely.
I mean, we're obviously, we're coming up on the midterm elections on November 6th. I can't yell loudly enough, for everybody to vote and exercise your right and your privilege to vote. But no, that's beautifully said. You know, it's, that's exactly what we want it to be. You hit it on the head.
Well, thank you. And you guys hit it on the head. And it's easy to say because it's true about what you guys do. And yeah, sure, I'd love to come on as the in fact, I made the joke. I tweeted about how I wanted to be the press secretary for Seth, and I found out you were going to be my boss. And I was like, oh, shit, Spencer's going to be my boss. Communications director. I'm like, hell yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. No, I think you guys do it well, and the show definitely starts a conversation from the Vote Seth on to reinventing tomorrow. Yeah. You guys have done a brilliant job.
It does start a conversation. It does get people engaged. People are talking about politics in an aspirational way, by way of this show. And, we're just in a really weird, dark time in this country right now. And it's, and everything is so divisive, and it's a very strange time. And so to be able to be in your car and, and listen to a show like this, or put your headphones on, or sit in your living room and listen to, 8 or 10 minutes of a show that discusses political topics, and doesn't put it in your face.
Right.
I think is really important, because, things could not be more red or blue right now. And, I think we're just all about being purple. Like, let's just, we have to try to get along more than ever.
Absolutely. You're right. I mean, I liken it red, blue, black, white. There's no middle ground anymore. And if people would just take the time to move to the middle a little bit and listen to each other, you would find out that we're far more similar than different. And I could not agree more. And I think it's relevant. I think it's timely. I think the decision to release it when you guys released it was brilliant. And it's just, I'm hoping for so much more. I want to see this thing continue. I kind of told JS this. I want a TV series, or at least a second season of the podcast. I want to see this thing keep going, because I feel like you guys have something special. The message is strong, and we need it right now. So I'm hoping somebody out there sees this, picks it up, makes this happen for you guys. We're going to do everything we can to keep pushing it, because we want it out there. And nothing but the best for this thing, man. We hope it continues to explode and just takes off, man.
From your lips to the entertainment god's ears, you guys are doing everything you can. We're doing everything we can to try to find our way to a second season. And ultimately, if a television show happens out of it, there's been mutterings for the last year of a West Wing reboot. I don't know if that'll ever happen, but if that doesn't happen, we're certainly happy to fill the void, because we fit right into that. Right into that genre and right into that mold.
Oh, so, absolutely. And the avenues right now, Apple and Hulu and Netflix, somebody out there's got to be wise enough to jump on this project and give you guys some cash to make it happen, man. I mean, there's just so much out there where you could just have the freedom to make this show. And you're right, it fits perfectly into the void of what West Wing had. And you guys it's now, and it needs to happen. I can't say that enough.
I don't know if any of you guys have done this, but in the last year and a half of what's been going on in our country, I found myself going back to Netflix and watching West Wing all over again. Just so I could feel good about about political discourse, not being coarsened and cheapened, and intelligent and smart and thoughtful and well considered.
Agreed. It's in my queue.
I went back and watched all 6 or 7 seasons of of the entire West Wing, and I just wanted to feel good again. And I think we'll find our way back there. I think we'll get our way back. People need to get to the polls and vote on election day.
Yes, go vote. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And yes, I like you. America 2.0 absolutely inspired me to go back and start watching West Wing again. I'm current. I think I'm season 3 right now.
Right on.
Yeah. Well, and it's hilarious because our first engagement, when you and I started talking back and forth on social media, I go and I turn on and the episode I see that day, there you are. I'm like, what the hell? How is this? Like, it's so weird.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah.
So it's amazing that there you are on the first episode after we talk. I'm like, this can't be a coincidence. Yeah. He's on the West Wing. So I like you. I just think, and what I'm saying is, you're watching that show, and all of the issues are the same. They're talking about things we are still talking about today, but they talking about it in a way where, like you said, you're not angry. You're inspired to say, how can we do better? How can we address
talking about
this
the economy, talking about healthcare, talking about immigration reform, talking about gun control legislation.
Exactly.
All of those things. You can have all of those conversations without spitting at each other and hurling insults at each other.
Exactly.
I think there's a way to get back there. We lost the great John McCain this year, and whatever you thought of, whatever your political stripe was, you can't argue that he wasn't a patriot who admitted his faults and mistakes, which is not something that comes so readily to folks in this current administration. He was a man who lived up to the courage of his convictions, and we could use a lot more of that now.
We could, and I was happy to see Joe Biden at the funeral. I think Joe Biden very much the same way, a man who stands up for his convictions and has gone both sides.
And they were great friends.
Yes.
And they were, back there was a time when when Teddy Kennedy and Joe Biden and John McCain, there were friendships. There were lasting friendships. You can have differing political views, but still reach a common ground as friends and as Americans.
Absolutely.
But McCain and Biden were great friends, and McCain and Teddy Kennedy were great friends.
Yep.
And it's gotten so ugly and so divisive now, and I don't think we need to go there. So.
Yeah,
I think we can. It'll be a long slog, but I think we can find our way back to that. Maybe we need to be going through this time right now in order to find our way back to our humanity.
Well said, sir. Well said. I think just leave it right at that. I don't think you can say it any better than you just said it, and I do believe we can get there because of people like yourself and because of the people that we do have that share those feelings. I think, like you said, it's going to be a bit of a long haul, but we will get there. We will get there. Let's talk about, wow, your resume, sir, is just insane. Yeah, you have been at this for quite a while, and the list of credits to your name is absolutely amazing.
And let it be said, and let it go forth out into the universe, that I'm only 25 years old.
Well, I knew it. I knew it. Yeah, I looked at him and said,
massive body of work that I've amassed at such a young age.
That's incredible.
I just want everybody to be aware of that.
Yeah, well, absolutely. I'm right there with you. I too am like 26.
So when you were on Dallas, you were about 5.
That's right. Yeah, Dallas. Wow. Yeah, I'm just looking at this list.
Yeah.
And okay, so let me get this. Did you actually appeared as 2 separate characters on Star Trek? Is that correct?
I did. I was crewman Simon Tarsus in Next Generation. I was a Romulan. No, I was a Vulcan who was accused of being a Romulan.
Ah, okay.
God, I don't even remember. The Star Trek fans are gonna the letters are gonna pile up. He was a Vulcan who had Romulan blood, is what it was, and I was put on trial for having Romulan blood, and
I
it was a
remember
big,
that
it was a
episode.
wonderfully written. It was the late '80s when that episode aired. I think it was '89 or '90 even. But AIDS was still very prevalent in the country, and it was an AIDS, a real metaphor for the AIDS epidemic, that was going on. And I was put on trial, and the story behind it was, let's not put this man on trial because he has tainted blood. And
Right.
It was a great episode, and one of the very first things that I ever did.
Yeah.
One of my very first shows, and then years later, I got to do Voyager as a hologram. So it's fun. It's fun to go to the Star Trek conventions around the country and see people come up to you with pictures of you when you were 24 years old, and makes me feel young and chipper again.
Yeah, and the pointy ears, not like
And the pointy ears, I still have them. I still have my latex rubber pointy ears.
Really, that's
in a little,
fantastic.
In a little jar somewhere.
That's awesome and kind of creepy, but
Yeah.
yeah,
It is both of those. Yeah. And every once in a while, people will say, "Hey, do you still have your ears?" And I'll bring them to the Star Trek conventions, and I'll pop them on.
Around with me all the times.
That's amazing.
If you really want to get creeped out, there you go.
No, you've been involved in some serious franchises, though. I'm sitting here and I'm the Dick Wolf, Law and Order, Juggernaut, the NCIS. I mean, you've just it's incredible.
It's funny. I heard you mention Dallas. Did somebody say Dallas earlier?
Yeah. Yep.
Dallas. So here's a wild little anecdote. So I just finished Quentin Tarantino's movie Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Right.
It's Brad Pitt and Margot Robbie and Leonardo DiCaprio and Al Pacino, and I mean the whole world is in it. It's an unbelievable cast, and I had a couple of days of work with those two guys, with Brad and Leo. And Brad Pitt said to me, he said, "Have we worked together?" He said, "I know I've seen you in a million things. Do we know each other? Have we worked together before?" I said, "Well, you probably don't remember this, but I said we did the last 3 episodes of Dallas together."
Yeah.
When he was about 19 or 20, Brad Pitt was on Dallas.
Yeah.
And he and I didn't have any scenes together, but he was sort of like the new kid on the block.
Right.
We were both the new kid on the block, and but that was one of his first jobs. And the lovely thing about standing there and talking to one of the biggest movie stars in the world, who's also just a lovely guy and a sweet guy to talk to. We had a great time on set. But he said, "Hey, did you ever do a Matlock?" And I said, "Yeah." I said, "Did you ever do a Falcon Crest?" He said, "Yeah." Like we were sort of comparing notes about all of the all of the TV gigs that we did when we were kids, making our bones as young actors. And all of a sudden, I'm standing there talking to not a guy that owns a chateau in the south of France,
Right.
but a journeyman character actor who just I remember well. A very dear friend of mine was actually cast as Brad Pitt's character at Thelma and Louise, and he was on a television show at the time, and he couldn't get out of his contract. And Brad Pitt, I think, was sort of the second choice, and he came in, and and that skyrocketed his career. But
Absolutely.
he's an amazing guy, and a wonderful actor, and Leo is the same. So it was a great time on set, and we were just talking about you talked to Leo DiCaprio, and he was a kid on Growing Pains.
Yeah. Right, exactly.
And,
exactly. Everybody's got to pay those dues, man, and make their way up. And that's a great
good
story.
guys, and that was a great experience. But to talk to him, and to know that we both did guest gigs on Dallas when we were in our 20s.
Right.
It's sort of it was a fun memory.
Yeah, that's a fantastic story. Thank you for sharing, because that's amazing and fun to hear. And that movie, by the way, really excited about. I think it's going to be huge. It looks like it's going to be a fantastic story. So congratulations on that. There's a couple of things I want to talk to you about. The Public, the Front Runner.
Yeah.
You've got so much stuff. The idea behind The Public is extremely interesting to me, about the homeless. I mean, it touches on so many social issues that the country is currently dealing with right now. And that's Emilio Estevez, correct? The writer-director is Emilio, correct?
Writer-director Emilio Estevez. It's our third film together. It's a film that he's been trying to make for, I think, about 15 years. It was originally going to be done here in Los Angeles. And our first picture together was Bobby, about the last day in the life of Bobby Kennedy.
Mm-hmm.
And then we did a movie called The Way, starring him and his father, which we shot in France and Spain. And then he moved a couple of years ago to Cincinnati, back where he was born in Cincinnati, Ohio. and he moved back to Cincinnati, and he's kind of single-handedly taking over the film industry in Cincinnati, and going to make his films there. And The Public is loosely based on a true story, a day in the life of a guy who worked in the public library, and on the coldest day of the year, he allowed the homeless community to come in and spend the night and sleep in the library there because they were freezing to death. And the politicians didn't want it, and the police didn't want it, and there's sort of a standoff between he and local law enforcement and the politicians there. Christian Slater is a guy who's running for mayor, and I play his campaign manager. But it was another great experience. Emilio Estevez is one of those people where he says if you're available, you just drop whatever you're doing.
Absolutely.
And come running, because he's a lovely man and a really passionate artist. And when you see the cast of The Public, it's Alec Baldwin and Michael Kenneth Williams and Jeffrey Wright and Taylor Schilling and Christian Slater and Joy Bryant. It just goes on, and he gets everybody to come and work for him, and it's a great time. And we shot in very cold conditions in Cincinnati, but he's just a warm and lovely guy, and he's got a huge heart. So that was a great experience. And then the front runner again, Jason Reitman. My second time with Jason, I did Thank You for Smoking years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So this was fun. He asked me to play Bob Woodward, so I've got a couple of little scenes as the journalist from the Washington Post, Bob Woodward, who was friends with Gary Hart, played by Hugh Jackman in the movie. And,
right.
So I had a great time working on that. So those two things are coming out, and I'm getting ready to play Sean Hannity.
Yeah, that's an interesting transition.
Yeah.
Bob Woodward to Sean Hannity, like that's interesting. I mean, talk about your range as an actor, right?
I hope so. I hope it speaks to something. But listen. I played a lot of real life characters. I played Tom DeLay. In a movie called Casino Jack years ago. I tend to get cast as a lot of guys in politics and media, and so I've been lucky to be able to play real life guys that I get to study. And Bob Woodward was what a delicious role to get to play him.
Oh, absolutely.
Because Robert Redford, when he was in All the President's Men, people didn't know what Bob Woodward sounded like back then because he wasn't on television all the time. So I asked Jason if he would let me do Bob Woodward's, he has this sort of flat Midwestern accent.
Right.
So that was kind of fun to get under his skin. And just a couple of little scenes. I'm not sure how much of me is left in that film. I'm going to see it next week at the premiere in New York. But I know it's amazing. And J.K. Simmons is incredible in it. And Alfred Molina plays Ben Bradley, and Vera Farmiga, and a lot of Jason Reitman regulars.
Right.
And he's just he's another guy like Emilio Estevez who just absolutely just relishes and loves the history of cinema and loves movies and loves movie making and everything about it. Just getting your hands in the dirt and having a great time with wonderful actors. And he casts a lot of friends and wrote an amazing script with Jay Carson and Matt Bai. So. I'm talking about these 3 movies that I did this year, and I'm pinching myself.
Yeah. Well, I think it's
very cool thing to be a part of. And then coming up, the Sean Hannity thing is my 3rd movie with Jay Roach. So
fantastic.
It's been a fun year, but and then 2.0 is just the cherry on top.
Well, I'll tell you what, Spencer. I think it's a testament to you. You can just in this interview hear the passion that you have for the craft and the appreciation of the work that goes into what you do. And I think that these projects that you're involved in and these people that you work with and the level of where you've been able to take your career is a testament to you and your passion for what you do. It's clearly evident in the way that you talk and there's a sense of humility yet. And appreciation for what you do, and I think well deserved everything that you've accomplished and what you've been able to do this year and throughout your career. Well deserved, sir.
I appreciate that, fellas, very much.
No, absolutely, man. And listen, open invite. We would love to have you on and talk to you about anything, especially when all of these start rolling out into the theaters and people are out to see them. And we would love to talk to you more about all of the projects and what you've got coming up. And again, as 2.0 continues to grow and become a TV show, because I'm going to make sure that happens.
Yes, you are. I love it.
I really am. I'm just going to be nuts about it. But we would love to have you back on and continue to just promote everything that you're in. We thank
anytime, y'all. Anytime. It'd be my pleasure, my honor.
Well, listen, man, we above all else, we told this to JS, we're going to say it to you. We think above all of the amazing talent and everything that you guys do as the profession that you're in and the projects that you're amazing people. You all seem to be good-hearted, genuine, kind people who appreciate the people that have put you where you are and what you do. And I think that's so important nowadays. And we can't thank you enough for that. And thank you. You opened the interview with such kind words about us. Let us return that. You have done so much for us and our podcast and the things that we're trying to do. And we can't thank you enough and everybody involved with America 2.0 for what you've done for us.
Well, the pleasure's mine, guys. Truly.
Well, listen, thank you so much. And like
Yeah,
I said,
seriously.
open invite, man. Anytime you want to come back on, you just give a holler and we're there. We'll make it happen.
I'm going to call you every day now.
All right.
I was going to say, let's talk tomorrow.
That's right. I think forever guest number 2.
Same time tomorrow. You got it.
All right, no problem. Fantastic, man.
Every time I get cast in something, I'm just gonna call the crazy ants and say, hey, let's talk about me.
That's right. Hey, look, okay, but we're gonna make it exclusive. Like before it's announced anywhere. Screw the Hollywood Reporter, any of the trades. You'd come to us, we'll announce it. It'll be fantastic.
I'm almost positive you have a story
got
for
it. It's
each
a
of
deal.
your credits that we can probably talk about.
That's exactly right. Exactly right.
As Christopher Walken might say, it's a deal.
It's a deal. Hey, that's good. That's a great.
It's crazy. It's the crazy ants. I'm talking to the crazy ants on the phone. It's wild.
That's
I love the crazy ants in Biloxi.
Oh my
It's
God!
crazy.
Wow. Yes. Okay, that's
crazy
fantastic.
ants.
Spencer, you are a gem, sir. Thank you so much for joining us today, man.
You got it, brother.
All right, take care.
I'll talk to y'all soon.
All right, man. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
God bless you, fellas.
Yep, you
Take
too,
care.
buddy.
Stay crazy.
Bye-bye.
Peace.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
Freaking both 2 back-to-back epic interviews.
Oh my
man.
gosh. I love these guys.
I know,
I love
seriously.
these guys.
Seriously, everybody at America 2.0 has been phenomenal to us. Like, seriously.
I mean, they just the most humble, most appreciative human beings. They are just the epitome and example of what a human being should be.
Seriously.
I mean, honestly, these guys are just amazing from top to bottom, and we cannot thank them enough. Thank you, Spencer. Thank you, JS. Thank you, everybody involved with the podcast. All of the fans, even the America 2.0 fans, have become fans of Inside the Crazy Ant Farm,
seriously.
and kind of like it's just an amazing thing.
I'm looking at his credits right now, and I'm thinking, it's like, what was it like to work with What was it like to work with Charlie Wilson's War?
Yeah, so many people.
Yeah, I mean, just that story about Brad Pitt and Dallas is epic, though.
Seriously,
that was amazing.
Yeah,
I mean,
seriously, thank
Ben
you,
Stiller and
everybody.
Midnight.
Like, it's such a great interview. Can't wait to have more people back on from America 2.0. I know we're gonna get Jeremy Gordon on the show, the casting director. That's gonna be pretty epic. So stay tuned for that, man. It's just so crazy. Crazy.
Oh yeah, man. Woo!
Yeah.
Pumped. I'm pumped.
All right, now it's time for the top 5 movie. Yeah, what about your top 5? Top 5 movie franchises this week. This includes like Marvel, the Avengers, any of those. I know a lot of us.
Wait, they're the same thing.
Yeah. I know a lot of us just did MCU, but I know some of us, hashtag the ladies,
The lady.
they did like the certain movie category.
It's true, they did
They
because
did.
Because it makes coming up with 5 easier.
Yeah.
that's what I
don't
respect
know.
that. I respect.
I respect that as well. So y'all can do what you want to do. Do we want to read off Tavia's first since she is not
Yeah,
here?
let's go
would be
ahead and
nice.
give Latte's shout out.
Yes. You gonna do it?
I didn't know
You're not gonna do
You
it.
said, "Are we gonna read?" I thought you were taking it, but no,
okay.
I can.
Let's all do it.
Let's all do it. Okay. These are in no particular order, like she normally says. The Avengers.
Yep,
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yep.
Austin Powers. I could see that. She
Yeah.
looks like she loves Austin Powers.
definitely.
Jurassic Park and Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings.
Yes.
Yep.
That great list. Great list. What about you, other lady?
Other lady.
Other lady.
What about you, other lady?
Are all 5 of them Marvel movies?
No, 3 of them are.
Only 3.
So I did Avengers 2.
No, but you got to do a series, not just Avengers 2. I mean,
I did Avengers also.
Waka waka
Okay,
waka.
all
Waka.
And then I did Iron Man and Captain America. So I said 3 of my 5 were Marvel.
at least I'm happy with this. You're my
Yeah,
kid for
yeah.
sure.
Okay.
I mean, I'm okay with these.
And then
We've
Hunger
established
Games.
that.
Hunger
And
Games.
then I
Games.
went Disney and did Toy Story.
Toy Story. I didn't even think about those.
Think about Toy Story.
Yeah. All right. I went with Clerks / the Jay and Silent Bob movies.
Oh, you mean the View Askew-universe?
Mm-hmm. The Christian Bale Batman. I like all of those. Freaking Dark Knight trilogy. Harry Potter. Big fan of Harry Potter. All 5,000 of those.
Now, would you include Fantastic Beasts in that? Just like the whole.
I haven't seen
kind of-
any of those
The
yet.
whole
Okay.
J.K. Rowling
Yeah, so
universe.
I need to check those
The
out.
first one was all right.
That's what I heard. That's what I heard. 2, Star Wars. Love Star Wars. And number 1, MCU. All
There
of
you
them.
go.
Just all of
There
them.
you go.
All
All
of
right.
them.
My number 5, I'm going from 5 up to 1. My number 5 is Star Wars.
Ooh.
That's right, Star
Man.
Wars, because after the first trilogy,
Yeah.
that's where it was for me.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Bond
Mm.
Bond would be number 4. Star Trek, because even now,
Yeah.
the MCU is my 2.
2. Oh, man,
Yeah.
you should see number 1. Shit.
Yeah, Dark Knight trilogy.
Boom.
Because
Yes, bitches.
in my view, like I felt like the MCU kind of brings you to their world, and the Dark Knight trilogy to me brought that world to reality
Yeah, seriously.
and made it way more relevant to. I mean, it wasn't even like a comic book movie. It was
No,
they were
like that shit was it seemed like it was just happening every day. Like the third one with Bane, like I could see that shit happening.
Oh yeah,
Like just taking over a whole
well,
city.
it stands
and,
the test of time. I mean,
Yeah.
it's pretty relevant at any particular point. Go
Yeah,
ahead, take
seriously.
it away, mouth.
That was a good list.
It was a good list.
It was.
It was a good list.
What do you got?
I mean, I have like many of ones we've already heard
Oh.
because obviously, I mean,
No,
But,
not real. No.
Star Wars.
Star
I
Wars.
mean, I don't see how you cannot have Star Wars on the list.
Yeah.
I mean, and Star Trek because I'm equal star guy.
Yeah,
Um,
equal star guy.
Uber nerd.
I'm a huge fan of the Mission Impossible movies.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I thought the last one
lately.
No, the last
No,
one
I
was
mean, I'm
great.
saying, I like
Lately.
the later ones.
Yeah,
I'm
the
not that
first
either.
one was.
I've only seen, I think,
I like
2
the
or
older
3 of
ones.
them.
I haven't seen all the newer
I like them.
ones.
I
I think they
they've-
get progressively better.
I think
That's
they've
what I
all
heard,
been.
too.
Yeah, no, I agree that they've all gotten better, which is why the franchise is good.
Yeah.
They've all been highly entertaining, and I mean, I think it's no secret that anybody who knows me, I'm not a huge Tom Cruise fan. Yet somehow I like all the movies Tom Cruise does. Like I don't understand this.
Yeah.
Last Samurai is one of my favorite movies of all time, but I
It is?
really just don't like Tom Cruise, so I don't understand.
Oh,
you
my
but
goodness.
don't like the person. You
That
like
wasn't on
the
your
actor.
all-time list.
apparently,
Yeah.
apparently,
Let's
You
go back.
separate
Let's go
them.
back.
yeah.
Was that on your all-time list?
I said it's one of my favorite movies, but that doesn't necessarily
That's
mean
not even one of my
all
favorite
time.
Tom Cruise movies.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, plus we only do top 5. It's so hard.
Yeah,
Yeah, right.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, top 5.
Lord of the
whatever.
Rings and the Hobbit.
Mm.
I do think that entire run is
Yeah.
just brilliantly done. And I was happy to hear that Peter Jackson came back to do the Hobbit
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
he wasn't going to,
Yeah.
and then they're like, no, we better give this. I mean,
There's no
thank
one
God
else.
for that. And then the MCU because, I mean, yeah. All
They
right,
would've
you're 5, Chris.
Built that team.
Oh, it's back. It's me now.
It is
Wow.
you.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
Alright. Well, Star Wars MCU.
Yes.
I'm gonna put them in the same line just because that keeps getting mentioned. James Bond. I'm a big James Bond fan.
Yes.
Yeah.
too.
We've learned that.
Yeah.
yeah.
From y'all who listen regularly, he gave us the in-depth on one of those.
He
Oh,
did.
boy. Yeah, I did. Die Hard.
Oh, I didn't even think about those.
Die Hard franchise, yes.
Blowing that shit up.
Back to the Future.
Ooh, didn't think about that one either.
The Matrix.
The Matrix. Didn't think about that one either. Shit.
Yeah, after
Man.
the first one,
Well done. Well done.
Damn.
I refuse to watch any Wachowski Brothers after the third one.
All right. Well,
All right, then.
you should go out one time and find the Animatrix.
That's how I
Animatrix.
watch it.
And that's okay.
Yeah,
All right.
it's pretty good.
And the View Askew-verse. I have to mention that because
Yeah.
I'm a huge Kevin Smith fan. I love
Yes.
his.
We're all huge Kevin
Jersey
Smith
Chronicles.
I want
fans.
to get him on the show.
Come on the
Yeah.
show, Kevin.
Whoa.
Come on
Yes,
the show.
come on the
Oh.
show, bro. Be great. It'd be great. All right. Is it time for the word of the day?
It is time for the word of the day.
Take it away, sound man.
What do you got?
Dwarp?
Dwarp? Dur.
Say again?
Dwarp?
Dorp?
Yeah, a small rural town or village often used to suggest a place that is backwards or unimpressive.
How do you spell that?
D-O-R-P?
Dorp.
Sounds like a
Interesting.
sound effect.
Some,
That's what I thought when I keep reading it. I was like,
Some
am I
might-
reading it right?
some
Yeah,
might
dwarp?
reference our current locale as a dorp.
A dorp.
A dreamy little dwarp?
I'm looking for a like a water drop.
Dorp? All right, well done.
Yes,
Simon, well done.
yes. Great word of the day. Now it is time for the box office predictions.
Uh-oh, I missed my cue.
It's okay. It's
Yeah.
okay.
That's all right.
What do we got coming out this week? We got Hunter Killer. I haven't seen anything about this one. And we got Johnny English Strikes Again. I haven't seen anything about this
Oh,
one.
yeah. That's Mr. Bean coming back.
Mr. Bean, yeah.
Oh, okay.
The
So,
original
little
one
off
was,
cue, but there you go.
there it
it was
is. There it
supposed
is.
to be James Bond meets Mr. Bean.
Oh,
It's
shit.
kinda
Yeah.
like in between.
Yeah,
the
it's like
dude
the
is a
third
complete
one.
idiot
Yeah.
and mess up. and,
This is the third one.
yeah.
Oh, well, damn.
Yeah.
It's gonna do horrible because
Yeah.
the marketing sucks.
Yeah.
And it's coming out against shit that's already out
Exactly.
there. So, I mean,
Exactly.
I mean,
and
who
I mean-
can top an A-list talent like Rowan Atkinson?
An A-list
Well, plus,
star.
and if you can beat Jamie Lee Curtis in Halloween on Halloween, then good luck.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I
Seriously.
just not gonna happen.
Yeah, movies that are already out that are still out that you can go see: A Star Is Born, Venom, Bad Times at the El Royale, First Man with Ryan Gosling, Goosebumps, Haunted House, and Halloween and The Hate You Give. Just a lot of good movies out, really. Freaking,
Really got to go see The Hate You Give.
yeah, seriously.
I was excited about that one
From
gotta
the
get
get
there.
go, yeah. Seriously, that one and First Man, and honestly, Bad Times at El Royale too.
Yeah, I'm
Like all of those.
yeah, Artemis Hotel.
Mhm.
That's what I like in that too. And
Yeah.
I think I enjoyed the hell out of Artemis Hotel. I think I'm going to enjoy the hell out of Bad Times at El Royale. But
Yeah, seriously. So
It's-
number one, I think, is going to be Halloween. It's going to come back. It's going to be number one again.
So you think for the next couple weeks, it's
Man.
going to finish out October?
Yeah, probably.
Probably.
With this time around 35 to 40 million. Number two, I got A Star Is Born, which came in that second spot last week. Pretty proud of them. Lady Gaga, Bradley Cooper, proud of y'all. A Star Is Born, 10 to 15
He's got a business
million.
card.
He's got a business
does.
card. I can buy y'all all the McAllisters you want.
Hey, you can take
McAllisters?
both of y'all. to lunch.
Yeah,
Both
exactly. Number three, I think it'll be Hunter Killer, the new movie coming out with around 9 to 10 million.
Gerard Butler.
Yeah, Gerard Butler. That one's number three. Number four, Venom, with around 10 to 15 million. We shall see. And number five, Goosebumps, Haunted House, with around 5 to 7 million. So, like I said, Halloween, number one. Number two, A Star Is Born. Number three, Hunter Killer. Number four, Venom. And number five, Goosebumps, A Haunted House. So,
Interesting.
yeah, we shall see.
Interesting.
But October, of course, Halloween stuff.
Yeah,
so.
I think it's going to run the rest of the month.
Yeah, seriously, or until at least Bohemian Rhapsody gets released, or
Oh,
that's
can't wait.
November 2nd. Never
Yeah,
mind. So it'll be November.
But it'll be fitting because we could potentially see.
Yeah, you did.
We could potentially see A Star Is Born and Bohemian Rhapsody as the top two films in the country in the beginning of November.
Yeah.
I've been seeing it's not getting good reviews.
I've heard it's getting that he is getting phenomenal.
No, he's getting
reviews,
phenomenal reviews, but the
and
movie's
that the film is getting mixed reviews. And I think I'm just gonna say it. I'm gonna go on the record and say I think it has a lot to do with Bryan Singer, and people are like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
remember it was in turmoil.
Yeah.
and Bryan Singer was gone for a few weeks,
Yeah.
and then he's like, "Oh, okay," but now he's back, and
Yeah.
it had a lot of shit go on during the making of it, and I feel like that probably hindered some of it.
Yeah.
But I think the mixed bag of reviews has a lot to do with that, and not so much the film itself. So I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to do huge.
It just
Huge.
occurred to me. I mean, we talk about Halloween. It's like, movies do debut on Wednesdays. Why didn't they just?
That's what we were
Yeah,
talking
we had
about
this
too.
conversation
Why
a
didn't
cou-
it
yeah,
Yeah.
Why didn't they just debut on Halloween night?
No idea. But if anyone from Bloomhouse wants to let us know, come on the show. We would love to have you. Shit. But next, let's flip it over to music. Billboard chart toppers. Well, guess what, guys? Things did not change from last week. Number 1 at the Hot 100, still number 1. Maroon 5 and Cardi B's song "Girls Like You." 5th week. I don't think it's gonna break Drake's record though, so it's fine. It's fine. And for the second straight week on the Billboard Top 200 albums, A Star Is Born soundtrack, which rightfully so. It's really good. Go listen to it. An honorable mention, I wanted to say that 12 out of the top 20 albums on the Billboard Top 200 are hip-hop albums. So I just think that's pretty cool. It's probably a lot to do with the younger generation being so much involved in streaming and streaming so much. So, yeah.
The hip-hop generation and the hip-hop genre and the artists involved have definitely benefited from the creation of streaming and digital. Without doubt.
Yeah.
I think they're the single genre that has benefited the most, I think, from the conversion.
Yeah.
I mean, if I'm being honest.
And
They said that number 1 was still Cardi B and
Maroon 5's.
I didn't mean to just
No,
go
you're
off
good.
tangent. But did anyone hear that they want Cardi B to do a Nanny reboot?
Oh my
I did
gosh,
hear
I
that.
did
Like,
see
please
that.
not.
I'm jumping out a window if that happens.
Like,
No.
okay, this is going to sound ridiculously crazy, but I would rather Tiffany Haddish do it.
Oh shit.
Like, and that would be a nightmare.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, if I had to pick either one of those,
Yeah.
I mean, give it to Tiffany. I'm just saying. I'm just
Goodness
saying.
gracious.
Like-
Best out of two evils, man. Pick your poison. I mean,
Sorry.
Or
back on track.
here's an idea: just don't do it.
Just don't do it.
Bring it
Just
back with Fran Drescher. For Christ's
Exactly.
sake, if you're gonna bring it back, bring back Fran. I mean,
Screw it. It's fine.
She pretty much looks the same.
Yeah, see?
yeah.
Like, it's
you
fine.
know what? They're redoing Alice, which
Yeah.
I think Fran put the red wig on her. She'd make a hell of a flow, wouldn't
Oh
she?
my
Kiss
God.
my grits, Mel. She'd be great
Oh
to do
my
that.
God.
It's hilarious since that started out as a movie.
Right? I mean,
I didn't even know that.
I mean,
Alice doesn't live here anymore. Martin Scorsese.
because
Oh,
Fran
shit.
Drescher does still look great. She's
Yeah.
phenomenal. And I mean, like I'm telling you, put the red wig on and dress her all like Flo used to dress.
I know we're gonna. I was like, but I'm curious. I don't remember. Did Vic Tayback play Mel in that movie too?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
I don't believe so.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting stuff.
Look at little camera
Diane
like
Ladd
they're
played
so
Flo.
old.
They're so old.
I don't
What
know
the
what
hell
what,
are they
what
talking
Alice
about?
Actually,
is.
on.
Look, I mean, Alice Doesn't Live Here Anymore was before my time.
Yeah.
I didn't. I had
But
to
the
see it.
sitcom though.
The sitcom was.
Yeah,
was-
yeah, I
was
didn't. The
growing up.
movie was before my time too, but the sitcom
Was it though? Was it?
No, yes.
Okay.
We're damn near the
It
same
was-
age, bro. Okay,
It
like
was in- I think it was in. Well, no, it might have been. You might have been like a few years old.
yeah, I was a little kid though, but
was-
the sitcom was actually
Jodie
ran.
Foster.
Yeah, and it ran a while. It was really successful sitcom. So Linda Lavin and Polly
Yeah,
something.
Polly
You loved
Draper.
Polly.
It
no,
was your
not
favorite
Polly
show.
Draper.
Polly-
Polly Draper was
Polly
You
Holiday.
loved it.
Polly
yeah,
Holiday.
yeah. The Polly
You loved
Draper's
it. It was your favorite show.
30 something.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
yeah. It's great. It's great.
She was she was an infant in it.
It's like, well, while the old guys talk, yeah.
So anyway, make sure to follow us at all of our social media handles: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Reddit, Facebook, Crazy Ant Film Company, Twitter, Crazy Ant Films, Instagram, crazy_ant_films, and on YouTube, Crazy Ant Films, Reddit, Crazy Ant Films. We have a website, crazyantfilms.com. You can listen to this podcast on bourbonbayproductions.com Friday nights, and you can also catch it on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and Google Play Music, and you can watch the video on YouTube, guys.
And
Yeah.
speaking of all that, huge thanks to our guests this week, J.S. Mayank and Spencer Garrett.
Yes.
And while you're at all those places following us and subscribing and liking us, check out America 2.0. Make sure you subscribe, rate, and like them because we're trying to reinvent tomorrow today.
Exactly.
And get it made into a TV show, right?
Exactly.
So go do
Exactly.
that. Thanks for all the podcast love.
Yes, we have one more thing. #SaveScorpion and
Oprah!
Oprah!